What do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God! No!
Before the
Don't
princess
get
went.
brazen with me.
He's the best lawyer in Miami.
Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are we all doing? Everybody's here. I'm here. 427 of you are here. Gosh, we had 1,200 a minute ago. It seems that many of you did not make the jump over here, unless you were just here to see Steve Gosney. We had Stephen Ann Gosney, Floridian assistant public defender who handles appeals. We had Steve on for a good hour and a half discussion about one of his cases, the jobs he does, and him as a person. We got through that, and we just jumped over here immediately. So things are kind of getting set up as we go. I'm kind of doing things here on the fly. It looks like everything's a go. Looks like I didn't boom or anything. It looks like we are all set. Great. All right. It's today. What is today? Today is day 6 of this trial. Yeah, Chaz Berglund, YouTube didn't jump most of us over. That is like this YouTube automatic forwarding thing, this automatic redirect is literally the most unreliable thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, why can't it do everybody? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. But oh well. At least some of us made it here. The rest will find themselves over here eventually, I think. All right, day 6 is starting. Aussie Overlaw'd will join us when he gets a moment, when he wakes up and gets ready to join. The invitation has gone out to Chandler Remington. We'll see what time she joins. If she joins, I haven't heard from her today, so we'll see how that goes. One thing I haven't done, I didn't tweet that we are going live. Well, shame on me. Let me do that really quick here. Let me put out the notice that we are live, and the people should come and join us because we're having fun. All right. Copy and paste everything. We are live. Get on in here. And copy and paste. 8 characters to... Sorry about this. Like I said, I just finished that other stream and just had to hurry and run over here as quickly as possible so that we didn't keep everybody waiting. All right. Boom. Got that out of the way. Flux and this. Everybody's in the house. All right. Rose is on it, Jeff. Yeah, I just sent a tweet out. So great. That's it. Yeah, Ozzy was really interested in the testimony the alleged victim's mom gave. It was weird. She was allowed to testify and irregular. However, Judge Brazen put a stop to some things. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to watch what happened yesterday. There's really nothing to catch up on because the vast majority of the testimony yesterday was the crime scene guy that took pictures of everything. And all but about 20 minutes of the hearing yesterday was this guy introducing photographs into evidence. Literally, photograph 1. What does this show? Okay, entered. Photograph 2. What does this show? What is this? Ugh. And it went on and on and on until about the last 20 minutes. And so when that was over, the allegedly deceased guy's mother took the stand to reportedly testify that he's dead. Yeah. Let me pulling this back here. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. Freaked me out here. I went to pull this up on Law and Crime and I pulled up this ice cream man double murder. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. I've never seen these people. All right, pulling up the Law and Crime thing here. Hang tight, folks, while we do this. Like I said, I just didn't have time and jump straight in here. We've got that one on deck. And next we will get yesterday's pulled up so that we can check this out. We'll watch it at like 1.25 speed so that we can make sure we get through it. All right. There is that. And boom. Pull it up. Okay, before we pull this up real quick, we've got a bunch of super chats. Well, not a bunch. We have like one. Love Steve. He's a gem. You're pretty okay too, Lorax. I try. You know, I do me. And speaking of doing me, make sure that y'all hit that like and subscribe button. Take the subscribe poll. Today's like and subscribe poll says, who smashes the like and subscribe button harder, the DA, defense, Judge Schroeder, or legal vices? Currently, I'm winning. I smash the like and subscribe button hardest so far. We'll see how that ends up. And Nicholas Starr of Union Rep. Mom introduced brand new evidence. Mom did a lot of things, and that's why we're going to be talking about Mom here. There's really no reason to summarize it when we can just watch it at speed. This is moms of the alleged deceased. We'll get to skip through a lot of it. And again, the main point of her testimony was that she was supposed to testify that her son is dead. But, you know, you can say, how does she know? But we'll look at this. This was odd. Again, it was odd. Don't know if it was wrong, but it certainly was odd. All right, here we go. This is what we missed yesterday. This is literally everything important that was missed yesterday. It helps if I click the right window, doesn't it?
No, I'll read it. That's okay.
Oh, yeah. Audio sucks, as always.
No, there was no objection. What was your response?
So, Judge, this goes to whether or not Mr. Gutierrez is actually dead. The relationship.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because who'd you want? Sorry, my brain's got to settle down here. I was in such a flight to get over here. Inner peace. The defense objected on the grounds that whatever she has to say is completely irrelevant. And they're saying, no, she has to argue that she's dead, that he's dead.
It's completely irrelevant.
I think it's appropriate that she gives some historic and biographical information leading up to a very relevant point.
There are no subtitles on this.
Required to prove is that
Don't know where they went.
Two things. One is the way that they're doing it appears a ploy to garner sympathy. Number one. Number two is that I understand the court's view that that's a relevant point, and they do have to prove that there was a death. But
so that's the thing, that the state has to prove there was a death. And this is what she's trying to do. They're trying to use her to prove that there was a death. And so we can skip until she actually starts testifying because the judge says it's unusual, but we'll let it in. And he takes a long time to do that.
once perhaps Ms. Beasy can speak with them. We'll leave it for today, but in the future, no. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he chastised them for wearing ribbons. He said no more ribbons in the court. They were in justice for whatever the guy's name is, ribbons.
Yes, we were extremely close, my butcher and I. He was my life. We did everything together. My life evolved around my son. His deeds, I did my best by him.
All right, let me know how the volume is.
We were extremely close.
Go ahead.
What did your son like to do with his time? What was most important to him?
Growing up,
I'm sorry, I'm going to object again. This is absolutely not relevant.
Ordinarily, this type of evidence is excluded. Evidence which is likely to create special sympathy, and of course, in the eyes of the court here.
So they're objecting to this because how close mother and daughter, mother and son are has nothing to do with the murder. It's normally not allowed, but he's allowing it in here.
It's not something we consider. Every life is viewed exactly the same in the court, so that we don't have a hierarchy of the value of human life. So this type of evidence is not ordinarily permitted. I'm permitting it in this case to give you enough acquaintanceship, because there was already reference to it in the case earlier as to what the reaction was of the friends and family with Mr. Gutierrez, and so that you can draw your own inferences as they arise from the testimony as to what that means if people who were close to him did not have contact with him, even for 2 or 3 days. That's the reason it's being allowed. So what the defense is concerned about is that you not become so sympathetic to this lady that that will affect your verdict. Any questions about that? Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Objections overruled.
Mrs. Patterson, what in May of 2020 was most important to Pocho?
His children, his communication. So, I mean, we had lengthy conversations, so we kept a very close contact with one another. Text, phone calls, video chats. He would always keep in communication with me. He would always respond to my phone calls. And if he couldn't, he'd say, "Can't talk now, Mom, I'll call later." He would text me.
Would you consider your son to be kind of a mama's boy?
My boy was definitely a mama's boy, and he made no qualms about it. He was very quick to say so himself when he was teased during high school, that you're just mama's boy. He would say so. He made there was no shame in it.
Where's everybody talking about how she's lying because she's not crying, she's not showing emotion, like they always do when the defense witnesses or the defendants are testifying?
Who was in front, he would kiss me. We were very, very, very close.
Now, in May of 2020, where were you living at that point?
In Elbert, Colorado.
And obviously your son lived in Kenosha?
Yes.
And did you maintain this close
That doesn't
relationship
work,
with other
Arden. I'll
friends?
explain why later.
Yes, we did, but I traveled back to Kenosha often.
And as part of your son being a mama's boy, did you help him out with financial things?
I did.
And would that include actually traveling back in January of 2020 to bring him a vehicle?
Well, actually, he came in December.
There are no subtitles suddenly for some reason.
Colorado Springs.
Otherwise, they would be on.
For my commencement on the 20th of December. He was going to make that celebration with me, my accomplishment. He was going to share that with us. And then in January, I traveled here to Colorado, and in February as well.
And in February of 2020, would that be the last time you saw your son in person?
That would be the last time I saw him. The purpose for that trip was to bring him that Ford truck that he had.
So the 16th was the last time she heard from her son, the 16th of the month. Those are listening. Those are just audio enhancements. They're basically amplifiers, hearing aids, whatnot.
Exhibit. Can you tell me what this top picture is?
Yes, that photograph was taken in Milwaukee, right outside La Quinta motel. He had dropped me off there because I was flying back to Denver on the following day. That's my son, Bocho, with the truck that myself and his dad bought for him so that he could go back and forth to work.
And approximately when was that picture taken?
That photograph was taken on, I believe, on the 3rd of February or the 2nd. It was on a Saturday, because I flew back on a Sunday, I believe.
And then these two photos on the bottom here, what are those?
That's me and my boy. We were at Pikes Peak he flew in to Denver for my commencement on the 18th. That photograph was taken on the 19th because I graduated on that Friday, the 20th. So we were at Pikes Peak. We were just hanging out. We had gone out for breakfast and enjoying the sights, killing time, enjoying each other's company.
Now, obviously, you're very familiar with your son. If you had to estimate, knowing him, having seen him as recently as February of 2020, what would you estimate his height and weight to be?
My boy had dropped a considerable amount of weight from when he first returned from Colorado. So I would put him at about 240, 245.
And approximately how tall would you say he is?
I say that he was 6'2", though his dad says he's 6'1".
Now, you just referenced his father. You obviously were a single parent for a long time. Did that change at some point?
It did. His dad came into our lives when he was 10 years
So
old.
he had no dad.
We would
and
marry
then
when my son was about
dad
16
shows up
or
at
17 years
16.
old. I was a single parent all that time. It was just me and him.
And when you married, what is your husband's name?
Eugene Warren Patterson, Jr.
And when you married Mr. Patterson, did he also grow incredibly close to your son?
Yes, he did.
I didn't hear the last thing you
So
said.
I'd like to object now, and I'd like to be heard at sidebar, or outside the presentation.
So again, they're objecting that his relationship with his father has nothing to do with the murders. It's just totally irrelevant.
Will the other person be testifying?
Will Mr. Patterson be testifying?
Yes.
No.
What is the inquiry premised upon here?
I guess I don't understand your question.
Where are you headed?
Just shoring up that he was also close to his stepfather and then moving on.
What's the relevance of that?
This is the situation. I mean, we have cases coming through here all the time. Sometimes there are people who are community figures whose lives are lost. Sometimes there are police officers. Sometimes there are people who have no friends.
So basically, they're saying relationships don't
I've
matter.
indicated to the jury what I believe the state is attempting to do here, which is permissible, but I don't think we need to go further down this avenue. Whether he was close to his stepfather or not, or his father, or anybody else is really not relevant, except that
That's his ruling. That's
It's
over.
incredibly
I
important.
think that
They keep arguing, but he's
I had
ruled.
Helped out your son financially. How did you go about doing that?
My son and I had a shared bank account with Chase, and
I'm going to object on relevance grounds here too. What on earth does the finances
Yeah,
have to do
we don't want to
with-
get into finances in this case.
he
Again, it's like,
helped.
so what if they had a
when
joint
my
bank
son
account?
was struggling with his bills. We helped him with
I
his
can't.
rent.
It's
We
600%.
actually paid for his lease
This is
for
it.
his apartment when he rented in May of 2018. My boy was an extremely hardworking man.
Okay, go ahead with your
Judge, I didn't hear you.
go ahead with your next question.
You indicated about helping with the rent when he first rented his place. Would that be the same apartment on 15th Street?
It is.
And were you actually with him when he picked out the different furnishings for that apartment?
We were together, yes.
So, Judge, this goes to
So again, they want to introduce the. Now they kicked the jury out for this one. They want to introduce that she knew that she went to furniture shopping with her son, so she knows what's in the house. She knows what's missing. And the judge said, well, we don't have any proof that she was shopping with him. So she can't prove that she was there and she knows what he bought. She can testify that she was familiar with the house. She walked through the house and she saw what was there and what wasn't there.
the furnishings in your son's apartment.
I was,
And why?
because I was with him when we furnished it.
In May of 2020, if you had to estimate, how often did you speak to your son at that point?
Quite often, at least 2-3 times a week.
And did you speak to your son via text messages on May 16th of 2020?
I did.
And were those the last conversations you had with him?
They were.
And I'm just going to show you State's Exhibit 55. Mrs. Patterson, is that one of the last text pictures that your son sent you on May 16th of 2020?
It is.
And after that conversation where that picture was sent to you, have you heard from your son ever again?
My boy hasn't reached out to me. My boy is gone. No, he has not communicated with me in any shape, text, email, phone call, FaceTime. I have not heard from
She hasn't heard from her son since
I
that day.
responded to this photograph.
How did you become aware that your son was missing?
I was called on the 19th of May, a little bit after 3:30, by Kayla Petty.
And just for the jury, who is Kayla Petty to you?
Kayla Petty is my granddaughter's mother.
And what did she share anything with you that caused you concern?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Not asking for the specifics, and it's also not for the truth of the matter asserted, it's for what she did next.
Well, you know, that, as I said, that's a way that is.
Yeah, what the mother did next is completely irrelevant. That was overruled.
Yes,
I'm showing you from State's Exhibit 1, photograph number 1. You can tell me what this is a photograph of.
So she went into the house and she did a walkthrough to see what was there, what was missing, what wasn't.
that's the tail end of the Ford Explorer that I drove down for my son in February, that we purchased for him.
And does it have Colorado license plates?
Yes,
And was this vehicle registered in Colorado by you and your husband?
the vehicle is registered to myself and my husband.
And at some point during this investigation, do you recall being shown a document that had a handwritten address on it?
Yes,
Okay, we can blow through some of this.
I do. I prepared it.
And what in general was the document that this was written on?
It was meant for my son to carry in a glove box.
What?
Where he was.
Is that
No,
because
her name is different than her allegedly deceased son name. So they're just talking about they kept a document that said, this is my name, this, I'm his mother, this is my name, this is his father's name, and his name is this. He is authorized to drive this car. Why they're talking about this, I just don't know.
I prepared this document so that my
where was it to be placed, or where was it placed by him?
and his Ford.
Objection. How on earth would this witness know that? And if she does, then she knows it through hearsay.
Why don't you rephrase your question?
So again, it's basically, this is irrelevant. What are you getting at?
5-4.
Received.
You came into town on May 20th, is that accurate?
Yes,
And eventually was the crime scene of your son's residence released?
it was.
And when was that, if you recall?
Yes, I do.
And what day do you recall the scene being released to you?
The scene was released on May 27th, but I did not enter it until the 28th of May.
So he disappeared on the 20th. The house was opened up. The crime scene was opened up on the 27th.
And when you entered the residence, that's a residence obviously you've been to before, is that accurate?
That is correct.
And did you do a general walkthrough of the residence when you entered it?
I did.
And what specifically were you looking for in your walkthrough when you first went back into that residence?
Objection. I don't know how this is relevant either.
Judge, you make some firsthand observations about.
Go ahead.
I did an audio video walkthrough of my son's apartment, and I noticed that the sofa leg was broken. I also noticed that the area rug that he had in his apartment, right in front of his sofa, was no longer there.
So there's the sofa leg is broken and there's no rug in front of the sofa.
That I saw everywhere.
Now, Mrs. Patterson, you've been in the courtroom while other people have testified. Where in the living room was that rug that you indicated was no longer there?
It was supposed to be in front of his sofa.
Was it placed in the space that's been referred to as the void?
That is correct.
It's a leading judge.
Well, it is leading, although, again, the objection of leading is for questions.
He eventually says, yes, it's leading, but I'm going to allow it anyway.
For the jury, could you point out where on this picture this rug would have been if it were appropriately placed? Judge, could you have the pointer?
And we're not going to see it, but it's basically in front of the couch. Oh, I guess we do get to see it now. Yeah. So is that big enough to put a 6'4" 270-pound guy in?
Thank you.
And can a 240-pound guy with a sore back do it?
What was broken on the couch that you noticed?
The leg of the sofa was broken.
Which leg of the sofa? Because it was kind of an L-shaped couch, if you know.
And who cares?
Kitchen, yes.
And why did you decide to start in the kitchen?
Well, because
Now this is the really weird part to me. If you remember, they talk about finding his bloody cell phone and his credit cards in the back of the freezer. So his wallet was on the couch, but someone took his credit cards out of his wallet, took his bloody phone with the credit cards and stuck them in the back of the freezer. 7 days after he disappeared, his mom finds this in the freezer.
some
That's
days
weird
had
to
gone by
me.
and I didn't want the apartment to start having an additional odor to it.
And ultimately, did you make your way to the refrigerator freezer area of the kitchen?
I did.
And what happened next when you were looking in those areas?
As I was removing some frozen items from the freezer, I reached to the back of the freezer and I noticed my son's cell phone, money clip, credit cards, driver's license.
And did you touch those items?
They were covered with, the cell phone was covered with his blood, so he didn't put them there.
I did not.
I'm going to show you what is on State's Exhibit 1, photograph number 298. If you could just tell the jury what they're looking at here.
That is my son's kitchen area.
And is on the left side there the freezer refrigerator you're talking about?
That is correct.
Right, I'm showing you picture number 299. Can you tell us what this is?
Yes, that's my son's freezer.
And if you wouldn't mind taking that pointer again, could you approach the screen and point out where you found what you found?
I think she needs a microphone.
Yeah, do we have a microphone for her?
Oh yeah, she talked for a while without a microphone. She just says she found the credit card, the money clip, and the phone back there.
His debit card from Chase.
And is that the joint account you shared?
That is.
And then what are the rest of these items?
Here's his money.
These were all
clip.
in the freezer. His Costco card, weird stuff
Any
like
of those
that.
cards were missing?
No, I didn't think anything was missing. Everything, all his identifying cards and driver's license was all in the freezer.
You can grab a seat, Mrs. Patterson. Records for that account.
I was.
I'm just going to show you what's previously been marked as State's Exhibit 37.
I did, yes.
And in looking at that document, after May 17th,
Court has not
of
started yet.
2020, with your knowledge of that account, did your son ever make an affirmative purchase from that account after May 17th of 2020?
His last purchase shows here was at Dick's On the 18th of May,
Is that when it posted, the 18th of May?
yes.
And then was he purchased actually on the 16th of May?
It says here that he made the purchase on the 16th, but it went through on the 18th, yes.
And ultimately, did you end up closing that account at some point?
Yes, I did.
And prior to closing that account, did your son ever make any purchases or withdrawals after May 17th of 2020?
He has not.
She couldn't go into the house because it was a crime scene until the 27th, 7 days later. So she couldn't go into the house. They wouldn't let her.
Missed. May 17th of 2020, what kind of events has your son missed?
He has missed,
I'm gonna object on the same grounds as we talked about earlier.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Prior to May 17th of 2020, would your son have missed your birthday?
no, I would have gotten at least a call.
So I'm gonna object this, she just backdoored the exact same thing you just sustained.
Kind of sounds that way.
Yeah.
Oh, but Judge, you-
No, we're done.
I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
I don't know if we want to start this, Judge, this is gonna be lengthy. You wanna rank for the night?
It's up to the court.
That part I know.
Whew, okay, well that takes us through the mother's direct testimony. And today we're going to be starting the cross-examination. And literally that's the only thing that happened yesterday because they were introducing over 300 pictures, 300 photographs yesterday was essentially all they did from the beginning to the end. They just had a little bit of time to squeeze his mother in there, so to speak. So, all right, we're ready to go as soon as court comes. All right, let's burn through these super chats. I think I got them all. So did you notice that the image that they showed to mom, which drew the tears, was never introduced to the record as evidence? Yeah. I wish I was drunk, says I'll stay for a while, but going to the gym soon. Hey, this is better than going to the gym. Come on. Arden Legal Vices. Yes, there's a plugin called Audio Compressor. As I said, I was going to say this later, but the problem is I mean, I already have a booster up to 600%. That's as high as it goes. But StreamYard, what I hear is not what you hear, and what I hear is not what my guest hears, because StreamYard processes it however the hell they want to process it, and YouTube again reprocesses it. So that's why I always kind of have to, unless you have a producer that can do it on the fly without you becoming involved. That's why I have to ask you, how does it sound? What's the balance? And not new at this. We know how it's done, but thank you for the concern. It's all taken care of as much as it can be taken care of. And a lot of this is they're not talking into the microphones, so you get all the white noise, and then court. This is actually, again, this is how deep this goes. We're watching Law and Crime, but Law and Crime is watching Court TV's feed, but Court TV's feed is being processed through another computer system. Occasionally you'll see when they're working on the sound, you'll see them manipulating the computer thing. So it goes from the court to Court TV to somebody's computer to Law and Crime, out to me, in through StreamYard, and out to you in YouTube land. So the fact that we can even hear each other at all is a mind-boggling thing to me. A Chaos Coordinator said, just got up from bed after a mind-numbing night shift, missed Gosney stream. Hey, go back and watch it. Damn it. I hope everyone is having a good day today. Now time for Schroeder and Shenanigans, plus double coffee. Always have double coffee. Bass, people need to understand justice for X does not mean you get the outcome you want. If there is a trial, due process is served, then X got justice. Technically, yes, but it can be a miscarriage of justice. And Matthew Self messaged you on the Twitter. I have a cage overlay you can use. Oh, good. Thanks. We'll put that to good use tomorrow. Again, I don't want to do it on the fly because everything will come crashing down around my ears. Jason J, I'm still puzzled about something. Did the mom find the card, find the card and phone in the freezer, or did the cops? The mom did. She was cleaning out the freezer after 7 days. Christine Bear, question. I would like to know, Legal Vice, your opinion of this judge and how he's explaining the. I love Judge Schroeder, and I love how he's explaining the rulings. He might be explaining them a little too much, but instead of just saying hearsay, objection, sustained, or overruled, and the jury's like, what the hell is that all about? He does take the time to explain it for two reasons. So the jury can understand what just happened. And also, as he said at the very beginning of the trial, he does this because it's ultimately, if there is a conviction, is going to be appealed. And he wants the appellate court, when they get the record, to see exactly what he was thinking and why he sustained or overruled a particular objection. So he's doing it to preserve his record and also to explain things to the jury. I just wish he'd talk a little bit faster. That's all. If he would talk a little bit faster, he would be much, much better, I think. And Starzilla, hey Starzilla, what's up? So there's no body, lots of blood. What do they have on the guy other than being jealous? They haven't even established he was jealous yet. They've alleged he was jealous. They haven't even established that yet. As you said, as you've seen, they haven't even established that he's dead. That's what that last testimony we just burned through was supposed to do. That was supposed to convince you beyond a reasonable doubt he's dead, that he liked his mom, and he didn't call anybody. He didn't talk to anybody for 2 days. He hasn't called anybody. Well, I mean, it's been quite some time to this point, but he hasn't talked to anybody and he hasn't used credit cards. So therefore he's dead. Okay. That's what the state's trying to get us to believe. So as far as, technically they haven't even proved he's dead. We just have to assume he's dead, I guess. And Amos Marinset, here we go. The rug really tied the rug really tied the room together, man. Totally. Nice reference there. Has the state established a fact question on guilt? No, they haven't established a thing yet. As I said, first they have to establish he's dead. Then they have to establish who killed him. I haven't seen it yet. And Shauna, I didn't realize his wallet was left on the couch. State is saying the defendant was trying to make it look like a robbery. Just checking the court feed there. But leave the wallet on the couch. Now see, if you're going to make it look like a robbery, take the stuff. Okay, if you don't want the cell phone to be tracked, just leave the cell phone there. Take the credit cards, take the cash, take the money clip, take the credit cards. You don't have to use them, just take them. So that makes no sense to me. You say he's trying to make it look like a robbery by putting stuff in the freezer. That's kind of lame. So wait, son goes missing and she doesn't decide to go in the house till days later. Like I said, it was a crime scene until the 27th. She was unable to, they would not permit her to go in. All right. Just caught us up to date here. Now we're just sort of waiting for the court to come. And scrolling back up here to do a few of these super chats we missed. This is actually kind of funny. Where'd it go? It's funny personally to me. Moose and Squirrel says she sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. She says, I have a huge number of Russian friends here, and it's starting to get annoying because I always tell whenever we go out drinking and we get a little bit drunk, I'll just like, hey, say Boris, we must get Moose and Squirrel, and it's kind of funny for me anyway. when I make my Russian friends say Moose and Squirrel, I laugh. They don't get it, but I laugh. All right. Phew. Now I got to take a deep breath and relax and get ready here. Tanny Simmons, thank you so much for the super chat. More than no cell phone use equals dead. Lol. Yeah. Well, nowadays, I guess if people don't use their cell phone, we're supposed to presume they're dead, other than they just don't like you and they're trying to. Mike Morrison has just gifted 20 Legal Vices memberships. If you're one of the lucky people that get gifted one of these 20 Legal Vices memberships, give Mike Morrison a huge thank you for that. Thank you, Mike. That's very, very generous of you. Phew. Wow, I burned through that so fast that now I don't have anything to talk about. Well, I expected the court to be here already because it is 13 minutes after. And Crafty Florida lady, I assume. I don't even understand why they're bringing this case to court. I really do not like this DA. He just makes me feel cringy. Yeah, the DA, there's something weird. And for those of you that don't know, the judge is the judge that handled the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. The district attorney, there was a Binger and Lunchbox. I forgot Lunchbox's name suddenly. Started with a K, didn't it? Anyway, Binger's co-counsel there for the DA's for the DA's office during the Kyle Rittenhouse. This is their boss. This is Kraus. That's right. I knew it started with a K. Binger and Kraus. We kept calling Kraus Lunchbox for some reason. So Kraus and Binger, this is their boss. So you see where they learn these dirty tricks from. You see where they learned their style from. You see where they learned the what if anything from. So the DA is Binger's boss. Kraus has gone on to a different office. Binger is still there. Flux, hi Jeff. Well, hi Flux. Welcome. We're just waiting for the trial to start. If the DA delivers on even 80% of what he claims he has in the opening, he has a strong case. Let's see if that happens. We shall have to see.
Yes, Judge, there is a preliminary matter that...
Oh, of course there is.
Both the state and
oh, hang on. We got to boost the audio here.
At our last trial, we had asked that witnesses be excluded from the courtroom and from talking about testimony amongst one another. We had assumed that order would be the rule of the case and would have transferred into this trial. There have been times where there have been witnesses that have, I guess, popped in or something of that nature. And so the parties would be requesting that the court enter that order again.
All right. Is that agreed?
That is agreed, Judge. We just wanted, because there hasn't been a formal order this time, we feel that an order would assist so that witnesses are understanding they should not do things like watch the live feed, etc.
So this is the sequestration order they're issuing to tell people to stay out of the courtroom and not to watch anything. Let's bring it up full screen.
Attorneys will be obliged to advise those who later arrive as witnesses, we're not here now, that they are not permitted to be present.
All right, I'm talking over the judge so we can hear the levels. Flux, tell me how the levels sound. I trust you.
And that will continue even after they testify until the trial has been concluded. And that would also include not listening to or watching any electronic account on television or radio or internet or telephone or anything else. And as I say, the attorneys will be obliged to notify the potential witnesses and
okay, how does that sound? That's me adjusting the microphone.
You may not discuss
Tell me how it sounds.
your testimony with anyone who has received a subpoena in the case or has been notified to be ready to testify. No discussion at all about your testimony until after the case is concluded.
The court cannot be increased at all. Talk about my volume, please.
Exclusion order, and so I just wanted to be sure the court is remembering that and aware of that. And those are Celia Patterson, who's the individual who was testifying when we left yesterday, as well as Sadie Beecham, and then Kayla Petty and Christy Radats Ortiz. All four of those individuals were exceptions last time, and they have watched large portions of the trial.
All right. Any comment?
No comment.
Okay.
All right, they don't have any comment. Now I've dropped the mic volume by 50%.
Yes.
Ty, I'm not an idiot. It's already there. It's already 600%. You know, Jesus. I've just said it can't be increased anymore.
Wife has a medical appointment at I think it's 3:15. I'll verify that. Maybe 3:45. Thursday, and I will be gone for about 1 hour. Any question? Okay.
Thank you.
Now he's calling to get the jury down. She literally calls them on the phone.
Come down, please. Yep. Thank you.
Eva Torres says the DA is kind of quarter to scumbag. All right, we'll see how this goes. See how we cross-examine.
Break a little later for lunch on
Oh,
Thursday.
no.
And probably take a shorter tonight too.
And Melanie says, I'm not making a decision until I see both sides argue it out, and I'm not biased. You should be biased in favor of the defendant. That is how that's the foundation of justice. He is innocent until the state proves. He doesn't have to prove anything. He doesn't have to put on any evidence. He doesn't have to prove a damn thing. You should be biased towards the defense. You should be making the prosecutor prove every single element of the crime. You should be putting them to the proof of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You should start out by saying, I'm convinced he's innocent. Convince me otherwise.
Mr. Gravely. Please.
All right, let's see how this cross-examination goes.
So we were on cross-examination of Ms. Patterson, Your Honor.
Right. You're still under oath, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Patterson.
Good morning.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 54. These pictures, was that something that you provided to the district attorney's office?
Yes, these were also provided to news outlets. Yes, early on.
And you said, though, that you provided this to the district attorney's office.
That is correct.
In your direct examination, you were talking about how you, when you arrived on the scene on March 28th, 2020, that you had taken a video audio recording of your walkthrough.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I believe the date's wrong. I think she said March 28th, and that's not what's in the testimony.
Sorry, May 28th?
That is correct. When I was given access to my son's apartment on the 27th, I went in on the 28th. I went into his apartment and sat on his couch to gather my thoughts of what I was.
Judge, I'm going to ask that this be struck. It's non-responsive to my question.
Objection is overruled.
What?
Go ahead.
To gather my thoughts as to what I was looking at.
Didn't agree with that, but nobody
Everything.
asked me.
And it took me a good while I was sitting when I got up and I started to do my walkthrough. I did record and did an audio video recording of my son's apartment.
Did you provide that video audio recording to the state?
I did not.
And when you provided the other exhibit to the state, you did that. How many times did you meet with the state to discuss this case?
You know, you're using lawyerese, a state.
Sure. When you met with, when I refer to the state, do you know that to mean district attorneys?
I do.
Okay. So when you provided that picture, who did you provide that picture to?
I don't recall.
Now, how many times did you meet with someone from the district attorney's office to discuss this case?
The initial meeting back in December, and here recently, maybe about 2 weeks ago.
And when you met with them about 2 weeks ago, who did you meet with?
I'll correct myself. It wasn't 2 weeks ago. It was about a week ago. And I met with DA Gravely, ADA Jessica, and Heather, the victim witness advocate.
And did you discuss what your testimony would be?
Not really, not entirely.
What does that
When
mean?
you say not entirely, what do you mean by that?
What I mean about that is expectations of what I asked the questions, what am I speaking to? And they said, they really couldn't answer my question. They said that, the questions would come out at here at trial, but just to be prepared to speak about my son and his truck and the picture that Mueller just showed us.
Thank you for providing that little bit of background information. Now, I want to take you back to around May 19th, 2020, and I'm sorry to have to do this again. On May 19th, 2020, you had said that you spoke with Eileen Knoll.
That is incorrect.
Who was it again that called you?
Kayla Petty.
Kayla Petty. And Michael Campbell, do you know an individual by that name?
He's a very good friend of my son's.
And did he call you on May 19th, 2020 before Kayla Petty?
No,
So you did not talk to Mr. Campbell on May 19th, 2020?
not that I recall speaking with anyone other than Kayla Petty.
On May, you probably might not remember this, but on May 26, 2020, do you remember speaking with Detective Martin Howard?
Martin.
I spoke with a few detectives, but I don't remember exact date or who they were other than a Detective Correa.
And do you, though, remember talking to a detective about dental records pertaining to your son?
I do.
And do you remember telling that officer who his dentist was?
I did.
And had you been aware of your son's dental records? Did you ever know about, let's say, him having cavities and needing fillings?
Yes, I took him to his appointments with the doctor.
Okay, and to your knowledge, did Mr. Gutierrez have any fillings in his teeth?
Yes, he had fillings.
And if you remember, and if you know, and you might not, there's two types of fillings. There's like the metal one, and then there's the composite fillings, which are meant to look like teeth. Do you know which kind he had?
I do not, I'm sorry.
Do you remember speaking with detectives about, oh, strike that. During your direct examination, you spoke to the state about, you kept saying your son's father. When you were talking in that capacity during direct, were you referring to your husband, Mr. Patterson?
That is correct. Rosario, my pocho's dad, was never in the picture. So when I say his dad, I'm referring to his stepdad, my husband, Eugene, who has been more of a father than his father was ever.
I thought you said he came into his life when he was 16.
That your son's biological father had not been involved in his life since he was around 2 years old.
That is correct. When we separated and the judge asked him if he wanted visitation rights, he said he did not. He has never been in my son's life since my son was 2 years old.
And that you didn't have any information about where your son's biological father was, where he was living, what he was doing. You didn't have any of that information.
That is correct. That is something that weighed really heavy on my son, not having that father who wanted him. That's why he wanted to be the best father that he could be.
I'm gonna hand
Oh, it was a
you,
stepdad. Yeah, okay, that was
State's
confusing.
Exhibit 37.
Chandler Remington said she'd be here in about 15 minutes. I mean, 5 to 10 minutes. So probably 15 minutes. Because she's a girl. Just kidding.
Okay, you went over these a little bit, but these are the Chase Bank records for the joint account with you and your son, right?
That is correct.
And so I want to draw your attention. It's to page, it says 3 of 6. It's of the April 23rd, 2020 through May 22nd statement. It's kind of in the middle of the packet. Do you have it? Okay. So page 3 of 6.
I'm there.
Okay, thank you. In these records, do you notice anywhere where your son had made an ATM withdrawal?
I see the one on the 14th, the one on the 15th.
Okay, and then you didn't, that was not you, correct?
That is correct.
And the one on the 14th, how much did your son, according to these records, withdraw?
It indicates 700.
And then on the 15th?
An additional 300.
So a total of $1,000?
That is correct.
And naturally, this was what we see in Exhibit 37. This was your bank account too, so you'd be able to access all of these documents.
It's weird that she's sharing. I don't know. It's just me.
Yes.
Weird
In
she's
the
sharing an
reviewing
account
all of
with
these
her
pages, is a
very
fair
adult
and
son.
accurate depiction of your bank statements.
It is.
Judge, I would ask to move in State's Exhibit 37.
Is there objection?
No.
The entirety or just the reference
I
stuff
think
dates?
the just page, the one I referred to, I didn't really question Ms. Patterson on everything else. I don't mind about the entirety going in, but if the court has concern about that, then I would ask it be that specific page that I had been questioning the witness on.
Any objection?
I would just ask the whole exhibit go into evidence as opposed to parsing it out. There had been testimony on direct about some of the other pages, so I would just ask the whole
All right,
exhibit.
it'll be received.
Thank you.
I like how the court feed goes from 0 volume to like just pounding, blaring volume on the. Somebody needs to stop touching the audio sliders there in the whoever's mixing this.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, that was easy. Again, that's the way it should have been, I guess. You don't want to beat up the mom. You just don't want to let her get away with saying stuff she doesn't need to.
State calls Naridia Macias to the stand.
Ooh.
Judge, can we be heard?
If you talk louder.
Specific exception or objection?
There's an issue about that we've raised pre-trial
Mr. Gravely's a witness? What?
The reason I always shoo you out of here is because it takes longer to unhook and hook her back up. So it's easier for you to go out. So I apologize that
One of these days, people in court will learn all about wireless microphones and lapel mics.
too long, but I'm not going to chance and make promises I don't know if I can keep. So, but please bear with us. Please don't read, watch, or listen to me count the trial. Please don't discuss the case in any respect. And see you hopefully soon.
And they're waiting for the jury to go out so that they can talk about what's wrong with this witness allegedly.
They're right. They have the option. They can go in the library or they can go upstairs. Very good. Okay. I just saw it. All right.
Thank you. Judge, March 16th of last year, we went to trial in this case, you recall.
I do.
And
I don't think I'll forget soon.
None of us will, Judge. So you recall the whole incident with his opening statement, and he talks about having a evidence, he's going to offer evidence about this Natalie Wisco and an interview that he had, him and his assistant, had with her at the crime scene, which completely changed the time frame of the defense's whole defense. And so when we confronted him about it, you asked him, well, who was there? Well, his response was, and I'm looking at docket 73, which is the transcript of the jury trial, he said that there was members of the district attorney's office there. And then he was pressed further, and he said multiple people were there. And then I asked you to ask him who specifically was there, and he had finally admitted it was just him and his assistant, and that's all. And you ruled, well, you didn't ultimately rule, but you said, well, that makes you a witness. You took a statement. His defense was that he was not going to, create a report for every single witness that comes forward or everybody that he talks to in trial preparation. But he took a statement from this witness. He is a witness now. He's on our witness list. We have subpoenaed him. He's known this for almost a year. He should have taken himself off the case, but he didn't.
The defense has the DA on their witness list?
Was that we were going to wait and see if this witness actually testifies. We were going to see, how all that unfolded. Well, now it's unfolding, and it's right in front of us right now. And they want to call this witness, who they met with at the crime scene. And it's the whole issue about we went to the wrong building, and we used Google Maps and all of this stuff. All right? So since he is on our witness list, he is subpoenaed, he's well on notice of this for over a year, I'm going to ask you to remove him from this case. He is now a witness. He needs to be out of the room and sequestered. And then the state can call this witness. And then during our case,
this is the issue that caused the mistrial last year.
Well, Judge, I want to indicate what a stunt I believe this is. So first of all, the court had a pre-trial hearing about this where we argued this, and the court at that pre-trial ruling permitted the state to remain in the case and indicated that it was not going to remove the district attorney from the case. So we have actually had a ruling on this within the last several weeks. Then counsel, when this witness is called, brings it up and actually says in front of the jury as the description, so the jury gets a chance to hear it, that I should be removed from the case, that the DA should be removed from the case. Then they make an argument that is an identical argument to the argument made to you in that pretrial ruling several weeks ago. There's no change at all in the argument. They indicated to you at that time that they had subpoenaed me, which is also a stunt, that they have placed me on their witness list, which is also a stunt. What the court recalls is the following. The court will recall that in that fateful day where this case was previously held for trial, I was asked a question mid-discussion, and by the way, I am the one who brought up to the defense after hearing their opening statement. I am the one who went to the defense and said, I guess that you should be aware that there was this additional supplemental information that we received. So this was something I told them after I heard their opening statement. I privately approached them and told them that. When we were asked about the details of that, the statute does not require that that be disclosed. The statute specifically requires written and recorded statements. This is not a written statement. It is not a it's not a recorded statement. We had a meeting with Ms. Macias at the DA's office. That had present other members of the DA's office, including our victim witness persons who usually accompany us in those interviews. That's where we talked substantive information to her. Ms. Macias was leaving, and we indicated to her as she was going to drive out that we would go to the same location so she could show us where she had parked over at the apartment building. When that happened, we discovered at that point that she had gone to the wrong building, and so that's how we found that information. We did not know that information until then. We asked her no follow-up questions that I recall. I don't recall any actual interview with her that took place there. We simply explained to her when we saw that, okay, now we understand this is the wrong building. And so that was all that happened. We didn't ask her how this occurred or any of those things. Present at that discussion, at that where we talked to her, was myself and Ms. Krzyzerek. For some reason, Ms. Krzyzerek is not on their witness list. I'll tell you that in terms of anybody who has a memory of that interaction, Ms. Krzyzerek is somebody who has a memory of that. I barely remember that interaction. In fact, I think that's very clear in the discussion that counsel just provided the court. When I was asked who was there, my thought process was that certainly victim witness was there. When I turned to Ms. Krzyzerek and asked who was there, she is the one who said to me, it was just you and I. I didn't have an independent memory of that.
I can't tell them who they can name as their witness.
I understood. I understand. I'm not saying you can. I'm simply indicating that the way that was then remedied, the court allowed us to talk about whether there would be a mistrial in this case or not. The defense asked for a mistrial. The court was assured by all the parties that this would be a mistrial that would be done without affording any misconduct to any of the parties involved in this case. And so we agreed to a mistrial rather than asking that the court continue at that time. So this was a mistrial that both sides agreed to afford the defense an opportunity to have that information, particularly with whatever issue the court might have in terms of us being a witness. What we then did was remedy it by having Detective Correa, who's sitting with us here, go with another detective, not with anybody from the DA's office, to the location and have Ms. Macias actually explain, without the DA's office being present, where she parked, where she was vis-a-vis that apartment building. So there is a recorded statement of that done on body cam, and that is done so that the defense can see nobody from the DA's office is involved in the collection of that information. It's obviously post that original meeting, but this has taken place. So again, I don't know what we're discussing that was not discussed a couple of weeks ago before this court.
Well, what we're discussing is the only stunt here is Mr. Gravely misrepresenting to this court what actually happened. The fact is that he went out and met with this witness months before trial, didn't tell us anything about it, and then made it a prominent part of his opening, is the point. That wasn't like a little thing. It was a very prominent, and you even said that, it was a very prominent part of their opening. And then he is completely evading his responsibility about this being a statement. He says it's not a statement.
you even corrected him, and I'll point directly to docket 73 at page 31 to 32. That's a whole discussion about the court asking Mr. Gravely, you know, who was down there? Multiple people were down there, he says. I want to clarify for the record. And you said, it was not my impression that Mr. Gravely was physically present, and he finally admitted that he was there. And so this whole thing about how we're going to remedy this by sending Detective Carrera out to do that, that's not the remedy, okay? The remedy is to have him leave this case and have them, if they want to call this witness, have them then call the witness, and then we'll call Mr. Gravely after we cross-examine her about her interactions with him, and then we'll get him on the record about what his interactions with her was. And we don't even know, as we sit here today, how many other witnesses went through the same exact process with the district attorney's office.
I'm going to talk about things I don't know about.
Okay.
That you were not glad to hear.
Why are we litigating the same thing we litigated 2 weeks ago, other than that we're on national TV? Other than that, what is the possible reason for this to be brought up now when the court made a ruling a couple weeks ago, Judge?
The judge did not make a ruling, Judge.
Just a minute. If I know me, usually this type of thing, I would not have made a definitive ruling. I would have said, as the situation stands now, and I would have pushed it off to see, and in fact, my sentiment is right now, I think I'm probably going to push it off to see if we need to, if I do have to make a definitive decision, or if it's one of those many things that we encounter in life that are that may just go away.
Your actual ruling was, Judge, that you were going to wait and see, as you typically do. You delay a final decision. You tell us like what you're thinking, but in this case, you said, well, let's see if she shows up. Well, she's here.
And let's now I'll make the next move and say, it's like a chess game. I'll say, let's hear what she has to say. And maybe the problem will evaporate, maybe it'll diminish, maybe I'll decide.
What are they talking about?
Not a problem at all. Or maybe I'll have to take some action. If I do take some, first I'm going to take one action right now. You can't examine her. Ms. Kazaric can examine her. No.
Judge, I'd like the court to take a look at the minutes from the.
I don't know what if you're going to quote what I said at the last time, you don't need to. I'm saying you're not going to examine her. Without doubt, we're in a perilous area. And we've got 7 days into this trial. Well, actually 9 or 10 when we count the last time. So this is a perilous area. I don't want to get any closer to the edge than I have to. And Ms. Kazaric is a competent, very competent lawyer whose assignment to this court, I think I enjoyed for 4 or 5 years. And I'm quite confident that she'll be able to handle this issue. And I'm not saying you're off the case. I'm saying she will handle the examination. And then I will await further developments before making a decision on the rest.
You know, regardless of what the court's role is in this, Mr. Gravely has an independent obligation as a licensed attorney in the state of Wisconsin to recuse himself from the case because by definition, he's a witness. And by the ethical rules say you cannot be a witness and a lawyer in the same case.
Show me that rule. You can't argue the case to the jury was when I last looked at the rule, it was you cannot argue your own credibility. That was the basic rule. And that's actually why even though I'm going past that, why I stated Mr. Gravely can't examine the witness. But take a look at it and point it out to me.
ask if the attorneys involved here who have an obligation to report ethical violations have reported?
No, you can't, because they're not here to be examined on this issue. And also, if I can tell you, it happens very, very rarely, but when I've had serious ethical violations happen here, usually I handle them with a rebuke, occasionally with a mild censure, but I have on occasion reported people. I commented at the time of the initial trial that while I thought Mr. Gravely had made a mistake, I did not think it was purposeful misconduct. And nothing I've heard since has changed my mind about that. And so I'm not going to report it.
So I just want to be clear, because this record is now is here. It's my belief that what the court said at the prior hearing was that you did not find that there were sufficient facts in the motion or in the argument to remove a sitting elected district attorney from a case of this type. I asked the court to review the report provided by Detective Correa, who indicated what was said, and the court, I believe, indicated that there was no reason to believe that there was a prior inconsistent statement that would make anybody a witness at this point. So that because a purported witness is now available as to the circumstances of this, that that was what I understood the court to do. So clearly, I've been in front of the court a long time. I heard the court make a ruling, and we proceeded accordingly because, of course, we were a couple weeks from trial, or a week from trial. I'm not sure exactly what the date was, but we had a special hearing on this. And the court ruled. I am, in fact, quite surprised that this has been brought up again, based on what I heard the court say that time. Not because attorneys can't bring things up again, I suppose, but we heard the court make a ruling. I thought it was guidance to us on the state being able to proceed without any fetters on it. The court is making a slightly different ruling today, and I don't know.
You know what? I am not going to have the reporter go looking for the transcript or the notes, and then have it go from there, and then everybody wants a transcript and so on and so forth.
Before they
Don't
quit
get brazen with me. What I said was clear.
I just wanted to be sure I had a chance to respond, but I did understand the
I think
court's
it was
guidance.
clear what I'm saying today.
So,
And I don't know that I would be very surprised if it's inconsistent with what I said last time, especially when I'm quite sure, as I almost invariably do, I gave you a sentiment as to what I was thinking, but specifically probably told you it was not a final ruling. What did you want to say?
So Supreme Court Rule 20.3.3, the ABA comment 2 makes it clear that that officers of the court, to avoid conduct that undermines the integrity of the adjudicative process, when you're a witness, that the prosecutor cannot simultaneously prosecute a case and be a witness in that case. And you can also take a look at United States versus Schwartzbaum, 527 F. 2nd 249, which is a Second Circuit case in 1975. But also the Wisconsin Supreme Court addressed this in State versus Jorgensen, 2008, Wisconsin 60 at paragraph 38. Testimony from a prosecutor is difficult enough to overcome, but it is impossible for a defendant to test or counter a prosecutor's, quote, testimony, end quote, when the defendant is denied his right to confront the prosecutor as a witness. So that is directly on point with this situation. And I think that the attempts to muddy water
we might lose the DA
by Mr. Gravely is just more testament that
Oh no,
that,
I'll miss
that
him.
he needs to be examined about his interview with this witness.
Well, I want to take a look at that rule. What's the rule?
I'm sorry? Rule 20.3.3. And all of these sites are in our filing where we asked for him to be disqualified, which is document 77 of the record in pages 13 and 14.
Well, first of all, there's no reason for me at this point to believe that there is going to be any inconsistency in the testimony of the witness and Mr. Gravely's account of it. And I understand we don't have him having given an account, although you could have asked the court for authorization for a deposition or something, but I don't want to get into that discussion.
Oh God, no.
Wow, this is a big decision to judge. We'll catch everybody up here as soon as we can. This is wild. This is crazy. This is great.
20.303.
That's what we've got down here, but I'll look it up with you.
Yeah, don't blame you, Jenna.
Okay, let's see if I can explain this before he starts talking again. Last year, there was a mistrial. There was a mistrial because the defense gave his opening statement. The DA gave his opening statements, not the defense. The DA gave his opening statements where he mentioned that there was a statement from one of the witnesses about going and parking in front of the building, this particular building. And then I guess the DA went out there and they found out that she had actually parked in front of a wrong building. But they never told the defense that this lady had parked in front of the wrong building. And so they were completely unprepared, couldn't cross-examine, couldn't do all of this. And so they declared a mistrial because the DA did not tell the defense, did not provide them with the evidence and information that this lady had actually gone out and parked in front of the wrong house. And what they're doing here is that lady is going to be the next witness. And so the DA is calling this lady who's going to be the new witness, who's going to be the witness who went to the wrong building, which led to the mistrial last year. But it turns out that the DA actually went out to the building with her.
You look at 20.
And they didn't know that originally.
Sorry,
they thought just she went out there alone.
Lawyer as a witness.
Went out with a bunch of other detectives. Didn't know that they went out there with the DA.
Lawyer should not
and they
act
only
as
found
advocate
that
at a
out
trial in which the lawyer is likely to be a necessary witness, unless the testimony relates to an uncontested issue, testimony relates to the nature and value of legal services rendered, or disqualification of the lawyer would work substantial hardship on the client. The lawyer may act as an advocate in a trial in which another lawyer in the lawyer's firm is likely to be called as a witness unless
volume only on the earphones. Okay, so the DA, turns out the DA, the witness had lied, or the DA had to disclose that he actually went out to this other building with the lady. And that's how he knew that she went to the wrong building. The DA was there. And so by going out there with the witness, the DA has now become a witness.
Well, 3 sub B.
And we're just learning this now?
A lawyer may act as advocate in a trial in which another lawyer in the lawyer's firm is likely to be called as a witness.
Yes,
unless
he is
precluded
the
from
district
doing
attorney and
so
prosecutor.
by 20:1.7 or 0.9.
What a mess.
Yeah, so they found out about this 2 weeks ago, and apparently they argued it a couple of weeks ago, and the judge said, well, if this becomes an issue, I'll
and then
rule on
under
it.
comments,
It's now becoming an issue.
Number
I see.
2, the tribunal has
Thank you.
proper objection
We're not done yet.
and the trier of fact may be confused or misled by a lawyer serving as both advocate and witness. The opposing party has proper objection where the combination of roles may prejudice that party's right in the litigation.
Let's do the Stephen Hawking impression. Okay, so the DA is on the defense's witness list, and now they're asking for him to be accused, to recuse himself and to be sequestered.
Gravely's objection that I'm not going to permit him to examine.
He should also not be allowed in the room at the time. during the examination.
Exactly.
You could probably talk me into that.
That'll intimidate the witness to change your story or to tell a lie or to say something.
But
Seriously.
what in the rules
better.
precludes Ms. Grzerek from handling the examination of the witness?
No, I think she can.
Now, I did refer to what was also an ancient rule. I know it's, I define it as ancient because I was taught it.
Oh yes, the jury is very, very.
And
long.
it was that the lawyer can't argue his own credibility. I'll forewarn you parties now that if credibility is an issue, and it may not be, in fact, maybe Mr. Gravely won't even see the witness stand. But if credibility is an issue, then I probably won't permit him to argue the case either.
Sequester the shit out of him.
That, to me, it seems like the outer limits, if we get to that point.
Credibility of who?
Well,
Credibility of who is an issue?
well, that's a good question. I guess I'd have to be.
You don't.
If your credibility comes into issue, or if there's an inconsistency of any kind between your recollection of events and that of the witness here, that I think you're probably going to be precluded from arguing anything about the case. But let's push it on.
So,
Just a question, so I can orient myself. I was obviously also present during the interview of Ms. Macias that day.
But you're not on the witness list.
Right,
Oh,
but
there you go.
then the next
Put her on the witness list.
tactic or stunt becomes, well, now,
Yeah, they keep calling it a stunt.
say Mr. Gravely eventually has to take the stand, which shouldn't happen because it's not an inconsistent statement, but let's play hypotheticals. So then Mr. Gravely takes the stand. He's already made it pretty clear that his memory is not necessarily sterling, which is why at the previous hearing, he did lean over to me and ask me who was present. So if at that point, hypothetically, he takes the stand and doesn't have clear recollections because that's the status of the world given what he does for a living, then are they then opening the door to then trying to call me to the stand as well? Because I would have better recollection.
What is this, legal jeopardy?
No, but it's the next logical jump in.
I don't want to get into next logical jumps. I've said what I have to say at this point, and that's where we're at. Don't get into other subjects.
No,
Come on. I don't want to get into.
Defense didn't create
The
any.
jury's in the back room.
Okay. The point is that the issue here is that this witness, this critical witness, significantly changed her story from all the reports we had before that February trial from last year. And so, and those two prosecutors were the only two people with her when she did that.
And I said last time, I thought that was a mistake.
Yes.
And I granted a mistrial because I thought it was a mistake.
And contrary to Mr. Gravely's representation, while the defense agreed to a mistrial, we were forced into it because of that exact flow of events created by him. So I just wanted that to be clear, that this is not something that the defense cooked up. This isn't a stunt.
I
something
don't want to
we're all
hear any
making.
more. There have been jibes periodically throughout the trial, and I've had as much as I want to hear. I want to get this case put to the jury and a true and just verdict reached. Okay? Any question about what the rule is now?
I understand the court's ruling, Judge. Can I just have 5 minutes to reorient myself with the exact exhibits?
Unfuck myself, please. Can I have 5 minutes to really just unfuck myself?
During this examination.
Again, I would object, Judge. As the court knows, I'm acting as a steward
Out
of the
here.
evidence and the discussions in this case. I intend to make an argument.
Hey.
For me to not be able to watch this key witness is not
Play the
appropriate.
Oscars exit music.
No different than Detective Correa, who was a case officer and will testify in this case.
Your speech is too
I
long.
will permit you to watch the video of the testimony before.
Get the little
If you were
shepherd's
going to
hook
be
and
arguing.
hook him off the stage.
Okay,
And I'll even let you listen to anybody.
Yeah, I'm going to ask that the court not have the jury, have the specter of me not be present. The court has not found that I engaged in any misconduct.
I am going to give a brief instruction to the jury that our attorney rules have provisions about lawyers on the case testifying. And for that reason, I've asked you to step outside the room. I'm not going to say anything assessing any fault or any misconduct or mistake or anything else. Just to explain to you them why you are not in the room.
Now stop wasting time. Judge Schroeder does that enough himself.
With the emphasis on the 5.
Yeah, watch me, bruh. We like you here.
Could you tell the jury it'll be about 5 more minutes? Thank you.
I mean, he's like, you're gonna have to drag me kicking and screaming out of here. I will intimidate this witness if it's the last thing I do. Wow, what a mess.
Wow.
Holy mother of God.
Right? Holy
This is
crap.
my problem. This is my problem, Jeff. So like I messaged you and I was just like, I'm gonna be 5 to 10 minutes, and then I had to try and hook up my new microphone. It didn't work. And so of course I'm listening to what's going on your channel in the background, and I turn it off for like 5 seconds to connect, and then the most interesting thing happens in the trial and I completely miss it.
That's why you got to be here early. Rise and shine.
I know. My alarm didn't go off. I'm so sorry, but I'm here. So let's talk about what's happening.
Holy crap. That's awesome.
That was quite something.
I like that. I've never seen that. There's been a lot of things I've never seen before happen in this trial. I like this. Wow. Let's clear off the super chats and we'll say howdy to everybody. Fondian says, I have bled more than what was in that room after a fist fight. Just from those pictures, it looked like less than half a cup full. And we've got like the Fondian super chat chain here. I think he got beat in the apartment. Then he sat on the couch, then thought they might come back. Then he put his phone and wallet in the freezer. That does not sound unreasonable.
I think there are a number of theories that make more sense than the prosecution's theory.
Yeah. But he goes on to say, he then went out the door to find them, and then they deleted him while outside, probably near the vehicle. Easier for them to move that way. I don't know about that.
I don't think they found blood in the hallway or outside, and so I think that kind of negates that theory. There wasn't any blood, outside of the entryway. But I appreciate people's creative thinking.
Yeah. And Miranda Rice says, Jeff, audio engineer here, never call them sliders. They're known in our industry as faders, catching up from about 5 minutes behind. Well, as a former broadcast radio DJ, I know they're faders, but if you say faders, nobody's gonna know what you're talking about. So you use terms people can understand, like sliders, and everybody's seeing the faders slide up and down. So that's why I use the term sliders.
Yeah,
colloquialisms. So someone was, when I was referring to the fact on Maritime Monday, the fact that you can rent rooms, you can hire rooms on cargo ships to travel around. They're sort of like cargo ship cruises is what they are. And I got a comment saying they're not called rooms, they're called cabins. Yeah, I'm a maritime lawyer. I know this, and they're not actually cabins. They're actually in the cargo cruise ship cruise. In the cargo cruises, they're referred to as staterooms, much like they are on regular cruises. Everyone else, the crew quarters, they're referred to as cabins or quarters or accommodations. But the guest rooms, who may look exactly the same as the crew, they always refer to them as staterooms because they want the people paying $5,000 to take a cargo ship around Rotterdam or someplace to feel like they're important people.
That's
T from Laos says, sliding faders. And Baldur Ala Richard said, they say sliders on the equipment. Jeff did nothing wrong. I know. MG Law says, no shithead. If you're a fact witness, then it is not a stunt. Yeah, he kept calling it a stunt. The stunt they're pulling. And you can be called as a witness. If you are a witness, then you should be out of the courtroom for the guy's testimony.
I like how he invoked the specter of my not being here, and it's just like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
you're the one who messed up here, so take the L and get out of here.
Quickly. And Flux keeping it real. You done fucked up, kid. Yes, he did. Sky's a neighborhood Chandler.
Hi, Sky. I'm so happy Sky's here.
And Mike Morrison. He should know this is the wrong judge to F with. Let's go. Thank you for that amazing generous super chat.
Mike is so generous.
He is. Great guy. And Mama Bear, just a quick scrolling past your chat. Aren't you at a time zone where it's around 4 a.m.? Currently it's 1 a.m. here in Korea. It's 3 a.m. where Aussie Overlaw'd is. So that's why he wakes up early and I go to sleep late. Flux, this is amazing. Goodbye to Ballsack. Fuck yeah. This is so great. DA done fucked up. Finally.
I think she
seems
meant
to be really happy about this.
I think goodbye DA Ballsack, which is DA Ballsack is my favorite new way to refer to Michael Gravely. I really
DA
love
Ballsack.
that. Although Da Ballsack would also be his rap name, and I think that would be fabulous. As opposed to Da Baby.
Da Ballsack.
Ballsack.
Ballsack, yeah. I said
We might
didn't
have
I?
some cat
Anyway.
appearances, by the way. I have a very friendly yeah.
Howdy,
Sebastian, you
cat.
wanna stream with us?
And Wintersteel also echoed what several people said. A stunt. He's a fucking witness. He shouldn't be in that courtroom at all during the case. This is completely wrong. I tend to agree. I think the judge was extraordinarily lenient. I think he should have just been completely thrown off the case. Why is Sarah Palin at the bottom of the judge's screen? I missed that. Sega boy. And Fondian, thin rug to wrap his head and stop blood wouldn't be any until the parking lot. Okay, so you wrap the rug around. I'd probably reach for a towel or take off my shirt or something before I reach for a rug to
I
wrap
feel like the
around my
rug
head.
wouldn't be flexible enough. It would probably fall. I don't think that's. I mean, it depends on the thickness of the rug, really. But
Max
again,
Headroom. Oh,
creative.
nice. I like that. He does kind of have those like a chunky Max Headroom vibe. Did you do your homework? Oh,
Yes, I did. I did do my homework.
you watched
and
it.
also
You watched the
yes,
Goonies.
I didn't watch the full Goonies, but I watched the clip. And I did watch. I watched the Truffle Shuffle and I watched the Baby Ruth clip. So I did do some homework.
All right, we have
And
to
also,
watch
I
the
know
whole
Max Headroom, and so you have to get him
Yes.
to put on some sunglasses and see if that, if that lines up. I feel.
movie. Yeah, I can see some Max Headroom there.
I'm a big fan of the
All right.
Max Headroom incident. So.
Max Headroom. He was one of the talking heads on MTV back when they played music. Had the own Max Headroom show, and he released an album with the hit song Paranoia.
I'm familiar.
Back from my DJ days, I remember that Max Headroom.
Oh yeah.
All right, so go ahead and tell us who you are and what you're all about, Chandler. That you got to do your usual introduction here.
Sure. Let's see if I've had enough caffeine to be able to put this together. Hi everybody. So I'm Chandler Remington. I am a paralegal from Los Angeles, California. My expertise is in the entertainment industry, and I'm currently looking forward to taking the LSAT this year and hopefully becoming a lawyer if I can get my ish together. So I am very happy to be here. I love trial watching, and I also co-host OJ Thursdays with Chap. We do the OJ Simpson trial every Thursday morning, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, and I'm very happy to be here for this really wacky trial. I'm learning a lot about what not to do in a case like this. It's fascinating.
So we went through the God bless you for, I don't know how much of the testimony you stuck through yesterday, but it seems they had over 300 photographs to enter into evidence.
I was with Hayden until about 1 p.m. my time, a little after 1. And so I think I unfortunately missed the beginning of the alleged victim's mother's witness statement / testimony, but I heard that they did some kind of shady things there yesterday.
Oh, we've got some cam movement here. No volume yet because I turned it off. All right, looks like we're coming back.
All right.
And let's see what happens. We're going to be -1 DA. Yeah, Aussie's going to be pissed he missed this. Yeah, MG Law says I agree with you. I think the judges, I think he was very lenient. He should be removed completely from the case. It was fine until he decided to call this person as a witness. As soon as he calls that triggers all of this. I think the judge was being extremely generous. I think the judge just does not want another mistrial.
I can understand that. And reasonably.
All right, Ms. Krizarek?
Well.
Now we got to figure out who's causing all these problems. This is so awesome. While she's coming up, we got a few monthly chats here. Eva Torres says, should I get into astrology? I feel like being ignorant of it makes me feel less of a girl. Okay, thank you.
I'd say no.
Wild Red, member for 2 months, says, I'm still here. And and he also he's joined the membership. He or she.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please be seated.
Ma'am, could you please state your name for the record and spell it?
Nereida Macias, Nereida Macias, Macias.
And are you currently employed?
Yes.
And how are you employed?
I work for the circuit court as a clerical specialist.
And in what city?
Milwaukee.
And back in May of 2020, did you on a dating app meet Rosalio Gutierrez Jr.?
Correct.
And what dating app was it, if you recall?
Facebook.
And do you recall generally the date that you first connected with Mr. Gutierrez Jr.?
The date, May 12th.
And did you begin to exchange messages with him starting approximately May 12th?
Correct.
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Did you exchange messages with Mr. Gutierrez?
Correct.
And in general, in the early days of May 12th through the next couple days, what generally type of things were you talking back and forth about?
Religion, spiritual stuff, like self-help information, books about his mother, his kids.
He made her see Jesus.
His job.
Were you getting to know each other?
Correct, yes.
And up until May 17th of 2020, had you met Mr. Gutierrez at all?
No.
In fact, have you ever met Mr. Gutierrez Jr.?
No.
What? So they talked, but
you
never
indicated
met.
that you and Mr. Gutierrez Jr. talked about family and different things like that?
Yes.
What's important to you in life?
Objection relevance.
She doesn't handle objections well. She's another Elaine. I love it.
Seems marginally relevant.
I would agree.
Very marginally. So if it's short, I'll.
Very brief, Judge.
Okay.
So ultimately,
Own witness, she's agreeing it's
did
irrelevant?
you and Mr. Gutierrez Jr. make a plan for May 17th?
Yes.
And did you do that over the phone via text messages?
Yes.
Now, prior to May 17th of 2020, did you know where Mr. Gutierrez lived?
No.
Please tell me she
I'm gonna
illegally
direct your
accessed
attention
records
to
to find out
the
where he lived.
television screen. And this is on State's Exhibit 1, number 344. Ms. Macias, do you recognize this phone number up here at the top?
Yes, that's mine.
Okay. Would that be a nickname for you as well as your last name?
Nettie, yes.
And do you recall asking this question of Mr. Gutierrez Jr.?
Yes.
And what is that question that is up there?
What town do you live at?
And he then responds with Kenosha. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And he then gives you a little bit further information. I live right by UW Parkside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, at this point, were you developing a plan for you to come down and meet him?
That day, yes.
And do you recall if there were suggestions about different things that you guys could do, you know, given the status of the world back in May of 2020?
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
COVID?
Let's move on to your next message.
Hello?
Does it read, "What's open" from you?
Could you smash with a mask on? That's what she's asking.
And then you ask around by you. And he responds, all the Kenosha bars are open. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And do you recall your response being, we are not going to a bar?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because going to the bar, obviously you're going to drink. I'm not going to drink and drive, only because of where I work at.
Wait, that's the
And
only reason you're not going to
ultimately,
drink and drive is because you work for the
What did you
court?
guys decide would the plan be on May 17th that evening?
Plan B, what? I
Plan
thought
was
they didn't meet.
to pick them up and go out. I don't know, just drive around and get to know each other.
Oh, that's why they had Plan B.
And so as part of that plan, did he text you his address?
Yes.
And direct your attention back to the screen. This is now page number 151 of State's Exhibit 1, number 344. And would the address that he texted you on May 17th at 6:58 p.m. be 3709 15th Street, apartment 1B?
Does that say you're creepy?
Is that what he texted you?
Yes.
Wait a second.
Now, once you had that address in your phone, what did you do to look up where he lived?
I looked it up on Google Maps to see where exactly
You're
he lived.
creepy.
It did in the beginning kind
Wow.
of scared me. 'Cause I
I'd like to
wasn't
know more
sure
about
if
that.
It was a good idea to go or not, but his personality really caught my attention. So I went for it and drove out there. Here.
And
I didn't hallucinate that, did I?
showing you that same exhibit again. This is specifically page 149.
It's an N. I thought I heard an M. Sorry.
M as in Mancy.
So at approximately
I still heard you
6:56
just say
p.m.,
M, but okay, whatever.
he tells you, no worries, take your time. I still have to drop off Ava, and she lives 45 minutes away. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And you respond with an okay?
Yes.
Then is it you that sends him a message saying 8:30 or 9
Yes.
with some question marks?
Yes.
And he responds 9 will be safer?
Correct.
And you say okay? And then we get into where he gave you his apartment address.
Yes.
And then did he give you the full address at approximately 8:15 p.m. on the 17th? including Kenosha, Wisconsin, 53144.
Yes.
At some point, does he tell you that according to his GPS, he'll be home at 9:01 p.m.?
Yes.
Direct your attention back to the screen. And as your conversation continues at approximately 8:25 p.m., does he tell you, see you soon?
Yes.
You say back K. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yes.
Then he asks if you want him to pick you up anything to drink, Corona, Bacardi, or Jameson.
Correct.
And you indicate you'll settle for a beer.
It's not going to drink, huh?
Does he then indicate to you other drink options?
Yes.
And is your response water is perfect?
Yes.
And then I don't want to get a DUI. And he then texts you, I understand.
Yes.
Do people really negotiate the drink menu before they meet these days?
After receiving that last message, do you then proceed down to Mr. Gutierrez's residence to meet him for the first time?
Correct. Yes.
And what map program were you using, if you recall?
Google.
And so did you put in the address he had given you of 3709 15th Street 1B into that map program?
Yes.
And then were you texting him updates about your progress?
Yes.
So I'm going to show you once again up there. We left off with him saying, I understand, at 8:27 p.m. And then at 9:37 p.m., is that you indicating you're 5 minutes away?
Yes.
And then at 9:43 p.m., indicating I'm here?
Correct.
And then at 9:44 p.m., asking where do I park?
Yes.
And at 9:52 p.m., are you okay?
Yes.
And at 10:05 p.m., I'm worried about you. Are you okay? And then at 10:18 p.m., indicating I left.
See, this is sounding sus to me right
Scroll
here.
back up to
The day he's supposed to meet
the top of
her,
page 158.
he turns up dead,
After
and the girlfriend finds his body
Mr.
2 days
Gutierrez
later.
has sent you, I understand, and it says delivered. When looking at your messages, what is the status of each message that you send after that, if you can tell?
It says unread.
And that's on each of these are unread?
Yeah, it says unread. Unread. Unread.
No, this is another girlfriend.
So after 8:25 p.m. when he texts you, I understand, do you hear anything further from Mr. Gutierrez Jr.?
No.
To this day, have you ever heard anything further from Mr. Gutierrez?
No.
Now I'm going to show you
This was a potential side chick.
a map of the Wood Creek apartment buildings. Now, when you came down to meet with Mr. Gutierrez, can you, with a pointer, Judge, can I get the pointer from you? Ms. Macias, if you could take this pointer, and can you go up on this map and explain when you came into this apartment complex, where you went, and then what building you parked in front of?
I'm sorry, I pulled in through the driveway and I parked right here.
And is that where your GPS took you to that building?
Correct, this building.
And when you first pulled in and parked right there, what did you do next in front of that building?
I waited a few minutes because I was nervous. I really wanted to get to know him. So I figured the door is like right here. So I pulled in a little closer by some dumpsters and I waited there for a couple minutes more.
And do you recall what the weather was like that night?
It was like drizzling. It was kind of like raining.
Okay. And obviously you got there at sometime around 9:30, 9:45 p.m. Was it dark out?
Yes.
And so besides parking in those locations you've talked about in front of that apartment, what else did you do, if anything?
Since I wanted to see when he came out, I parked across. I saw a guy that moved out his vehicle, so I parked right in front of the door so I can see when he comes out and I can just kind of flash my lights. But he never came out.
And ultimately you then left the area and went back home?
I waited there a few minutes, but he never came out. So when I pulled out, I ended up parking right here. And I kept texting him, "Are you okay?" I don't know if he was in the shower or married. I did not know, so I left.
You can grab a seat, thank you. Now, prior to that night, had you ever been to what is commonly here called the Wood Creek Apartments before?
Never.
Were you familiar with this area of Kenosha?
No.
No.
Eric.
After giving that statement to law enforcement about your interactions with Mr. Gutierrez that night, do you recall having a further meeting with Detective
I was
Correa,
just going to say that.
in March of 2022?
Defendants even like, what the fuck am I doing here?
And what was the purpose of that meeting, as you best recall it?
To talk about what exactly happened at the location.
And what type of questions did Detective Correa ask you that you can recall?
Where my GPS guided me to exactly, and how long was I waiting between pulling out my vehicle.
And did he ask you essentially a lot of the same questions I've asked you today?
Yes.
Now, back in 2020, when officers first spoke with you, did they have you come down to the scene and talk them through anything?
No.
So how did they interview where did they interview you the first time?
At the Kenosha police station. I actually came from Milwaukee because I saw on Facebook. Since I was not friends with Rosalie on Facebook, I was kind of curious. How come I didn't hear from him Sunday, May 17, 18, 19? I didn't hear from him. So I looked on Facebook and it said, "Have you heard any information from Rosalie Gutierrez? Please report to police." So I drove down personally to speak with Kenosha police because I was concerned. And then I spoke with the detective and I explained to him what happened, or is everything okay? And he asked me some questions.
And when you first spoke to Detective Correa, he didn't take you to the scene to walk him through anything?
No.
But the second time you spoke with Detective Correa, you actually went to the scene to walk him through exactly where you parked and what you had done?
Objection, leading.
During your second
Thanks,
interaction
everybody.
with
That was
Detective
nice.
Correa, did you actually physically go to the scene?
Mop, mop, mop,
In terms of where you parked?
mop.
Yes.
Did he share with you that the building you actually were in front of was not 3709?
Objection, leading, and hearsay.
Boom.
The building you pointed to up there, that's where your GPS took you that night?
Correct, yes.
Now, I know that you had testified a little bit earlier that you had only been speaking with Mr. Gutierrez Jr. for approximately a little less than a week. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Did anyone in your life know anything about him?
No.
Had you been talking to him about him to family and friends or anything like that?
No.
Was there anyone in your life at that point that would be jealous if you were talking to someone on Facebook dating apps?
No.
Mm.
Last question. So since 8:25 p.m. on May 17th, when Mr. Gutierrez Jr. texted you back, I understand, have you heard from him at all?
No, not at all.
I have no further questions. Thank you. Oh, ma'am, you have to, sorry, they get a chance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You should know that. You work for the circuit court.
Court.
Yes, you did miss something. A very big something. Wow. All right, that was a little bit fiery. Let's take advantage of this here and get some super chats. What's up, Skipper? It's 6 a.m. here. Can I borrow a cup of coffee? Morning, guys. You can have a cup of coffee. You don't need to borrow it. Wild Red again became a YouTube member. And I paid $5K. It's a stateroom. Exactly. Fondian, thank you so much. The thin rug drop his head stop with blood wouldn't. Oh, we already read that. You get a twofer. Vienna waits for you. Vienna Calling. That's a great song. This looks to me more like a murder over some drug thing, and the Kenosha DA's office is railroading Mr. Anderson to cover it up for some reason.
Gutierrez gave you his address that you put it in to Google Maps. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
You're standing by that testimony?
Yes.
You sent Mr. Gutierrez a screenshot of you putting his address in, correct?
Yes.
That's weird. Why would you send someone a screenshot of you entering their address into your GPS? All right. While she's buffering for the next question, Mama Bear, we have 9 baby calves coming any day now. Off to check on the mamas. Oh, bye. But I will still be listening. Oh, hi. I'm glad you're live, even though it's the middle of the night for you. Well, thank you. I'm here. You don't get to raise your hand. You don't get to ask a question.
There seems to be some connective issue.
Some connective tissue. What? Legal Vices says CHD. They are labeling the defense as an obsessed stalker. But maybe that other girl found out he was about to meet up with his other lady and she confronted him and it turned into a fight.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of theories that involve the ex-girlfriend, who I still don't know why she's allowed to sit in the courtroom. I know that there was an exception for her, but
yeah.
Do we have another one?
Especially if she's being called as a witness, which I'm certain that she is.
Yeah. And Brandy Smith says there's no body, Jeff. I am very well aware of that, Brandy. Thank you for sharing. Feral Housewife, thank you so much. Over under on the DA getting the boot after this. Well, it sounds like the judge isn't going to do that. I think they should have put her on the witness list, seeing as she was there with them. That would have been funny. Just lose all the DAs in one day. That's what I would have done because I'm an evil son of a bitch.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're going to see more of him than we want to. But, you know, that's the judge's call, so.
Yes, the ex-girlfriend found his body.
That's not true.
No, wait.
Nobody found
You're
his
right.
body.
She came to the murder scene and found the blood and reported it. That's what I meant to say. Thank you for unboomering my lungs there. Yes, there is no body. I didn't realize I was saying that. I was just kind of.
She found that there was a lack of a body. She found that the body was nowhere to be seen, alive or otherwise.
She found there was no body to be found. Yes. Okay. Got it. I have been corrected. I did not realize I was saying that. I wonder how many times I said that. Huh.
I didn't hear you say that personally, but I might have missed it. I don't know.
Yeah, so now that I've confused everybody, it's already ridiculously confusing case. Let me repeat, there is no body in this case. I have no idea why my brain was saying that. Maybe I've got some sort of Bruce Willis aphasia going on here. I have no idea why I was saying that. Jeff is dead cold sober. Jeff does not drink alcohol on the week after doing an F at Friday. Yeah, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. I ain't got nobody. Just a gigolo, and everywhere I go. And again, this is the second most asked question of the trial.
Talk about the case during the break.
Oh, a new break. Why are we having a
15
break?
minutes.
They have to unboomer themselves. What is the last witness wearing around her neck? It's essentially a hearing aid. It's not like a personal in-ear here. It's an aid for hearing. It's an amplifier to amplify the audio in the room. Wow. Well, Hayden, wake up. You should take this over. They're going to do a late lunch today because the judge has to do something for an hour, he said.
No, he said that was on Thursday.
Was that Thursday?
He said that on Thursday his wife had a medical appointment and that he would be gone for an hour. But it's possible that he also said something about a late lunch today. I actually missed that part.
Yeah, I'm apparently just confused about everything. So I'm just gonna stop talking because I haven't got a damn thing right that I've said all day.
It's a little bit of a confusing trial. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot going on. There are a lot of objections.
Oh, Dave, 1, 2, 3, you tried paying attention when you got to worry about what's being said. You got to check the audio levels. You got to entertain a guest. You've got to check super chats. You've got to follow the conversation. You got to look at all the messages that are coming in. Anyway, just kidding. Yeah. There's just a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. I actually think that you're doing a great job of keeping up, because it's
yes, that is my problem. My blood alcohol content is dangerously low at the moment.
Maybe if you drink a little bit, you'll sharpen up.
Yeah.
No, I think you're doing great. I think this is a very confusing trial, and even though I have knowledge about court proceedings, there are a lot of things that have happened that have been very difficult for me. So, like, for example, yesterday when I was on Hayden's stream, Hayden left for like 15 minutes to get a burrito, and something crazy started happening, and I had no idea. And people in the chat were like, Chandler, explain to us what's going on. Chandler, host. And I'm like, I literally don't know what's happening. So I'm just gonna watch along with you guys and hope for the best and hope that I figure it out eventually.
Well, and that happens a lot of the time too. When it's getting through boring stuff, you just start paying attention to the chat and you phase out a little bit.
It does happen, yeah, which is why, I mean, that's like something I'm learning, through my streaming adventures to, sometimes I just have to like make this full screen so that I'm not looking at the chat, because reading the chat is definitely very distracting, especially when people come up with interesting theories about what really happened to this guy who went missing.
Yeah, because the defense certainly isn't shooting any of these possible things down.
No, they are
Let's
not.
see where this is going. I mean, it's yeah, Brandy, I'm with you. I want to know where that "you are creepy" thing came. I mean, what precipitated that?
I'd like to see the full text because it looked like something was kind of blocking the first couple of words. But he just sent her address, or sorry, he sent her his address. And then the next comment was something, "You're creepy." Like, you are creepy. And I also want to know that, Brandy. I'm curious.
Okay, here's a random factoid.
Hmm.
Remember?
Are you getting feedback?
No, we're not getting
no.
feedback, Court. It's the voice of God.
They tried this again, down more. Are you getting feedback now? It's good?
Yeah, it was good for me. Was it good for you, Chandler?
It was okay.
Oh, well, all right. I'll take that. Debus, I think I'm gonna get in trouble here again. Legal vices with the Alex Murdaugh standard of him dying when he stopped answering, and this girl admitting to being at the scene. She's the one who did it. Dun dun dun. Exactly. That's my theory. Now, here's a random factoid before I was so rudely interrupted by the court audio technician.
Please.
Remember a couple of days ago when Natalie Wisco was here and the camera panned to the wall and there was like a weird looking patch on the wall? We thought it may have been like a leather or something, or there was something hanging on the wall. And I asked what it was and she didn't know, and we speculated about what it was. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Well, she just sent me a tweet. That problem has been solved. That mystery has been solved.
Oh.
That I checked when I was in the courtroom the other day. That weird space on the wall without paint that was focused on the other day by the camera. There is normally a painting in that spot, but it got taken down to reframe the painting or something. Whoever painted the wall was just lazy and didn't cover the whole area under where the painting usually is.
Sounds a little like Murdaugh with, they had that painting on the wall of like one, I guess his great grandfather or something, and they took it down.
Maybe this witness was part of a gang that met Marks, then robbed them, and it went wrong. Well, that's not a great way to keep your career with the circuit court as a circuit court clerk.
No.
Yeah, being part of a gang.
I'd say that this is probably like the first. It's pretty rare that you try to go on a first date with somebody and then that guy goes missing and is presumed dead.
Yeah, literally the date of the day of your first date.
My favorite, I think a lot of people in the chat, or at least a couple of people in the chat were like, yeah, no, she really got ghosted. And I mean, I'm like, it's bad, but it's funny.
Oh, nice. I didn't see that. Oh, that's like a literal ghosting. I like that. Whoever said that in chat, you guys are geniuses. Somehow I missed all those. That would have been great. Oh, well.
Your chat is very clever. Like, I have to say, kudos to chat, everybody who's watching and contributing little comments here and there. I'm very entertained. This is a highly entertaining trial, but I'm really enjoying everybody's commentary because you guys are witty, you're quick. Some of you come up with some crack theories, but some of your theories are like really interesting and kind of spot on. So I'm enjoying all of the creative ideas about what really happened to Rosalia Gutierrez, because I don't think it happened the way the state is saying that it happened. I just don't.
The Vice Squad chat is super, super awesome. They're the best there is out there. They're the best on YouTube, just hands down. Wow. What are we going to talk about until they come back?
Oh God, I don't know. I didn't watch the entire Goonies movie. I just watched clips from it, so we can't talk about Goonies really.
Well, they just took a 10-minute break, and I had my 10-minute break stuff just already sucked out of me there. So
is this going to be 10 minutes? Because I feel like with the Okay, it's Schrader, not Schroeder, because it's spelled Schroeder. But
Yeah,
Natalie
it's
pronounces it
spelled
Schrader.
Yeah, but everybody pronounces it Schrader, so whatever.
Okay.
I've
Well,
changed. At least I did that right today.
I like to pronounce things correctly, so I'm glad to know that now. But with him, it's always a little longer. You know, he says 10 minutes, it's going to be like 25 minutes or something.
Punk cartoon album, asks Stingy. Yeah, yeah, I was supposed to forward you the thing. I forgot. We were talking about the cartoon things the other day.
Was that the Ramones thing that we were talking about?
No, it was just it was like with all the theme songs for all the cartoons done in a punk style, all the Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
I
That sounded great.
I'll have to remember at some point to do that to you. Or you could just go to Remy_legal and tweet it to her yourself, Stingy. That way I don't have to do it.
Thank you for doing that. I forgot to tell people what my handle was on Twitter and that I'm in fact on Twitter and you can follow me at Remy_legal. That is a thing you can do. I would love for you to do it. Please follow me.
Yeah, Vanessa Chandler hasn't seen Goonies. We're trying to rectify that. She's seen clips today. She watched a few clips.
I've seen like 5 minutes of Goonies. So
yeah,
I've seen more of Goonies as of now than yesterday. I'm working on it. I'll get there. I'll watch it. Maybe after
Yes.
I was just gonna say maybe after I'm done with my my LSAT stuff today, I'll unwind with with Goonies. It'll be fun. Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Goonies. All right. Looking at the like and subscribe chat. Let me take off this stupid scrolling thing. It's annoying me. There we go. Boop. All right. We've got currently 1,660 viewers and 891 likes. Like 50% of you nearly haven't done your job to get down there and hit that like button and subscribe. So we've put up a little like and subscribe poll here. Hit the like button because that's what you should do. And if you haven't subscribed, I would be gratefully just effervescent with excitement. And I would love you forever and ever and ever if you would do me the honor of going down there and clicking that. We're currently at 35,517 subscribers, marching our way to 36,000 and then on to 50,000. So just another 500 subscribers would be awesome. And we got 1,671 of you here. I'm sure not all of you have subscribed. This is what we do here on the channel.
Yeah, come on, people, subscribe. Do it.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be trial day. Thursday will be O.J. Simpson for an hour and a half, and then the trial. We do the trial until it's over, and then we go back to Law Rack's business as usual. And once you've hit that like button and you've subscribed, or if you are already subscribed, made sure you're still subscribed, go over here and take our poll, our fun little poll that's sort of lame today. Who smashes the like and subscribe button harder? The DA with 7%. The DA isn't smashing very hard. He's not smashing the button very hard. 7% the DA, 19% the defense. It was neck and neck. 36% of you said I smash harder, but 38% of you says Judge Schroeder smashes harder. The like and subscribe button, of course. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, take the poll, and let's clear off these incoming super chats. As soon as I dig my way out of the 18 layers of screens I have set up here. Flux, I believe, is where we need to start this. Let me double check just to be sure. Don't want to miss any because I feel bad. Oh, I did. I almost missed one. So again, Remy_legal will get you where you need to go to send her the album yourself or send her anything else you want to send her Twitter related. Jason J. Hope the Manitoba County DA here in Wisconsin is this bad, just like the Two Rivers police are as incompetent as they are when I go to trial in my disorderly conduct charge on March 30th. Well, let's just hope you don't end up as Stephen Avery's cellmate.
Yes, good luck to you, Jason.
And Sapphire B says, just got here. Please summarize. Murder trial. Ex-boyfriend.
Nobody.
Allegedly jealous and murders ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. But there's no body. See, I got it right that time. There's no body. There's no weapon. Lots of blood. no DNA anywhere on anything from any party.
Not that
and
much
then lots
blood,
of
actually. Not that much blood.
and lots of weird stuff has happened over the last 5 days. We can't just briefly summarize this 6 days of trial at this point. That's the best I can do in the time allotted.
I can try 3-ring circus, honestly.
There you go. And Flux, Chandler has all the great knowledge of the old stuff, but hasn't seen Goonies. Are you even a 90s kid?
Yes, I am. I'm a 90s kid. My mom didn't like Goonies, so like she never showed it to me. My mom showed me all the cool stuff. My mom has great taste. A lot of my good taste, it's a family legacy. But Goonies was not in our family legacy, so I'm catching up.
Is that really a family? And then Sapphire B says, "Who smashes the chair?" Yeah, that's right. The chair was allegedly had a broken leg.
Oh, I missed that. So,
Sapphire B, just today. Oh, just summarized today. It's probably easier to summarize the last 5 days than it is to summarize what happened today.
I'd say today what happened. Should I give it a shot?
Well, Mom testified. Mom got cross-examined. It was pretty benign. And go ahead. Take a crack at this one. What happened since then?
So the mom testified, and then afterwards there was a bit of fuckery, shall we say. We found out that the DA is a witness, and that created some problems. They went back and forth for a while and concluded that he should not be present for the questioning of one of the witnesses because he, in fact, was at the scene when she was at the scene. So there was some back and forth with the judge. He eventually left the room, even though he tried really hard to fight for his right to stay in there and intimidate the witness or whatever he wanted to do. And and then we started questioning this witness who had known the victim for about a week and was going to meet up with him at his place. And it would appear that all sorts of new theories are coming out in the chat, which are much more interesting than what the state has to offer as far as what really happened. So I'm liking all the tinfoil hat theories. Keep them coming, you guys.
Well, Winter Steel does have a very important question for you. Labyrinth, Dark Crystal.
Yes, I'm a big fan of David Bowie. I love David Bowie. So of course I love Labyrinth. And the Dark Crystal I never saw, but when I was younger, a lot of people told me that I looked like a character in the Dark Crystal named Kira.
I can see that.
I think.
Kira, yeah, I can see a little Kira in there.
Because if I take off my headphones, you can see my ears stick out, and so I've been compared to an elf a lot in my life, and
Who are you?
In an endearing, like cute sort of way. Like I had a boyfriend who called me Elfie as a nickname, and I'm not mad at it, honestly. So, but yeah, I was compared to Kira from the Dark Crystal, and she's a very cute character, so I was flattered at that comparison.
And you still haven't seen it, even though you've been compared to this character. I'll tell you, the Dark Crystal is literally one of my favorite movies of all time.
Well, I'll put it on my list. I have
Hands
a
down.
really long movie list. I have a long list of stuff I have to see. Some classic stuff, but I'm making my way through.
Should move that straight to the top, because then you can go watch the Netflix sequel of it.
Well, Dark Crystal first or Goonies first is my question.
Oh, Dark Crystal first.
Okay.
Goonies isn't even really that great. It's just such a cultural icon. You have to watch it.
That's fair.
But yeah, the Dark Crystal is one of the best movies ever made, hands down.
Well, then I have to see it, of course.
There we go. Now that we've got all that relevant, pertinent legal news out of the way. Wait, she's seen Princess Bride.
Of course, I've seen Princess Bride. What do you take me for?
I mean, yeah. I mean, she's not a Philistine. You know?
I'm a movie buff. I love movies. I just, occasionally here
Just
or there.
the wrong ones, apparently.
I mean, I've seen a lot of really, really obscure, like foreign films that, probably most people haven't necessarily heard of, especially like horror movies, films in all languages. I love anything from the Criterion Collection. Well, almost anything. 400 Blows was, but
All right, just check scanning chat here.
I can talk about movies all day.
Oh, I said Goonies wasn't good. OMG, Jeff, shut your whore mouth. I didn't say it was bad. It's just not that great. I mean, especially compared to Dark Crystal. Come on. All right. Come on. You got to come back, Judge. I'm dying over here.
Okay. I'm looking at chat. People are asking questions about movies. I have seen Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
I have seen Delicatessen. I love Delicatessen.
Oh my God.
Let me see. Rocky Horror, obviously huge fan of Rocky Horror. I mean, as a not straight person, like, of course, that was my, like, I saw it when I was 12 for the first time. And, you know, I'm pretty sure when I went to, I did a live screening of Rocky Horror, you know, like what they do at the New Art, got hit in the face with a flying tortilla that had a lipstick print on it. So that was fun.
Nice.
You know,
we are back.
Classic Rocky Horror stuff.
The judge is looking like he needs someone to come and walk him back to his nursing home. Looks confused.
He does look a little confused.
Oh, all of Akira Kurosawa's movies are just, I mean, they
Oh, absolutely.
They're just, you know, beyond us. Actually, his movie Ron and Dreams, especially Dreams. Dreams is in my top 5 films of all time.
Airplane. I love Airplane. I love Leslie Nielsen.
All right.
We can talk about movies later, you guys.
Yeah.
let's do trial.
All right, now it's trial time.
Okay, pulled up State's Exhibit 344, page.
And now that they've fucked with the audio, we have to go through this
Ms.
whole.
Moss, yes, this is
How
the
does
text
our
message that you sent to Mr.
how does our
Gutierrez
audio
with a
sound? Who's
screenshot
loud? Who's quiet?
of your maps, correct?
Fox, let me know.
Yes. And you had an iPhone, correct? I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 237. This is the screenshot that was in that text message, correct?
Yes.
And in this, it's your address to 3709 15th Street. And it's saying that it's going to take a total of 37 minutes. Sorry, if you could just say yes or no.
Yes, my apologies.
All right, so now are we still unbalanced? Am I still too loud?
This screenshot is actually from Apple Maps, correct?
That's Apple Maps?
So you
Yes.
didn't use Gmail, you used Apple Maps.
I used Gmail and Apple Maps. I don't know if it was the second time when I went out there to meet with the detectives, so it must have been.
She said Google Maps.
So I must have used Apple Maps to meet up with him, but I must have used Google Maps to go see the detectives to meet up with them for the scene.
Okay, so when you went on May 17th, 2020, you used Apple Maps.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it would take you 37 minutes according to Apple Maps.
Yes.
I'd ask that Defense Exhibit 237 be moved into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
Received.
Correct, thank you. It was on.
I'm wondering why they didn't redact her address.
Well, there you go. That's helpful. Clearly, they don't have their shit figured out.
You think?
So, in your text messages, you and Mr. Gutierrez had agreed to meet at 9 p.m., correct?
Yes.
A little bit
And
red on the
you
lipstick.
sent that
Yeah.
screenshot that said
Upper.
37 minutes. And do you remember texting Mr. Gutierrez at 8:24 p.m. that you were going to start leaving your house?
At 8:24.
Correct.
It's around 8, but I can't remember the times. I need to see the times. Sorry.
Pull up what's marked as Defense Exhibit 236.
This is a weird case. It's definitely a weird case.
Yeah, Winter, I'd say a lot of things are sus, and this is just one of many things that I find quite sus. And I don't think I'm alone in that.
Okay, so the message in the blue is your message, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you send a text that says, okay, no worries, I love driving, it'll give me time to jam more, I'm gonna start leaving my house. That was at
Yes.
8:24,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Your plan was to meet at 9, correct?
Correct.
So 37 minutes from 8:24 would be around 9 p.m., correct?
Correct.
Now, in your text messages and in your direct testimony, you said that you're there, I'm here, at 9:43 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And prior to that, you didn't text Mr. Gutierrez that you were running 40 minutes behind, did you?
No, I did not.
You didn't call him and tell him you were running behind, correct?
No, I did not.
And he didn't call you asking you where you were, correct?
No.
And he didn't text you asking where you were.
I'm sorry.
Is there an answer?
No.
Could we have the witness speak directly into the microphone? We can't hear her at all over here.
When I
Is
said,
it on?
"Is there an answer?"
Yes, it's on. You're just not using it.
Oh, I was
Not an
saying,
answer, or no, that was the answer.
no, that was the answer.
No was the answer.
Yes.
First question.
Who's on first?
Okay. And speak into the mic, please.
So you also testified about how it was your plan to drive around, to meet up, you come and you drive around.
Yes, to get to know each other. I was too afraid to go to his house. I didn't want to go in there. I just wanted to basically get to know him and just get to know him a little better.
But you didn't text about that plan, correct?
No, I did not.
You didn't talk to him that day about that plan, correct?
We did earlier when we were actually talking, when I was working.
On the phone.
Correct.
So what was the plan then for when you got there? At 9 p.m., what was the plan?
Don't know. We just wanted to get to know each other once I got there and see what was the plan. Either go to a bar, to a restaurant.
You said no, you're not going to a bar.
I'm asking more about the
She
specific
just said no,
details
we're
of
not
your
going
plan.
to a bar.
You said that you were waiting outside for him
She
to
did say
come
that.
out. Did you talk about that he would come out to meet you?
I think his plan was maybe for me to come in, but I would not go in there. My plan was just to sit outside, maybe in the car, and just get to know each other.
So his plan was for you to come in, but your plan was for him to come out.
Correct.
So what plan did you make that you solidified of what would happen when you arrived there at 9 p.m.?
What plan did I make?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what, could you repeat that question?
You
again?
just testified, previously you testified that the plan was he was gonna come out and you guys were gonna go for a ride together. Just now you testified that he wanted the plan according to him was that you were gonna come inside.
Well,
I'm
first
saying,
date.
I'm thinking maybe he wanted me to come in. I don't know what was he thinking. But I can tell you that my plan was for him to come out. I don't know if he was.
Okay, so that was just your plan. That
Right.
wasn't something that you guys discussed and agreed
No,
on.
not at all.
Okay, so you didn't discuss that when you had the phone call with him earlier then?
We just planned to just meet up with each other. That was the plan.
At 9 p.m.?
Yes. It could have been earlier, but he had to drop off his kids, and I respect that.
So May 20th, 2022, you upon yourself just show up at Kenosha Police Department at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Correct.
No one had reached out to you to
No.
come provide
No.
things. You went on your own accord.
Yes.
And do you remember that when you went to meet up at Kenosha Police Department, that you had materials that you were going to give to the detective you spoke to?
Yes, my phone of the conversations I had with him and the conversations I had prior, which was the Facebook meets or Facebook dating app.
And those were screenshots, correct?
I was today
That
years
day,
old when
no.
I realized that
You didn't
Facebook
give
has a
any
dating app.
screenshots to the detective on May 20th, 2020.
Me too.
Not that day.
I had no idea.
They were going to meet with me again.
Okay, do you remember, strike that. I'm going to show you it's been marked as Defense Exhibit 235.
It's not great, Jeff. I didn't expect it to be great, but you know. Oh, they've got to stop dicking with this, with the audio in the court. Leave it the fuck alone.
Showing you what's been marked again as Defense Exhibit 235. This is an email that you had sent to Detective Pereira on May 20th, 2020, correct?
Yes.
And around 8:26 a.m.
Correct.
And the subject is forward last text messages I had with Zario, correct? But his name is, that was a misspelling, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in there you wrote, I'm forwarding over the extra information you asked for as an attachment to this email.
Yes.
And the attachments were screenshots.
Yes. Now I remember. Yes, those I sent those out. I remember. Those.
Oh, it says, I don't think
Okay,
you're
so
creepy.
this is a forwarded email.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you email yourself these screenshots prior?
That's a little bit sus.
Forwarding. Yes, I did. I kept those for my copy purposes. That's why.
So at what time though? Did you provide that email that you had forwarded to law enforcement?
Your Honor, objects of relevance is that. It testified you provided these screenshots as been identified. What does it matter if she forwarded them to herself first?
I sent them to him because that's what he asked
Not
for.
asking about you sending them to him. Sorry, not asking if you sent them to him. Good.
Okay, I sent them to him because he asked me for them. But I don't know if I sent them to myself or did I resend them to him because he must have said, I did not get them. I can go back and look at my email. I'm more than happy to do that.
So let's go to the screenshots. So this screenshot that you sent, and it's terrible quality. I'll try to zoom in. It might be that I have to hand you the actual exhibit. I'm gonna hand you the actual exhibit just so you can see the text. But this is one where it starts about what are your plans tonight, and then basically would you be interested in meeting up? Is that an accurate depiction of what that text string is?
Yes.
Okay. And this screenshot was taken at 8:03 a.m., correct?
Correct.
So this screenshot then you had taken the day before?
What date is that?
So you emailed these as a forwarded email to Detective Carrera on May 20th, 2022.
Yes.
This is a screenshot that says the time that this screenshot was taken was at 8:03 a.m. You'd agree that's the time that's up on the top, correct?
On May 19th?
I'm asking you, what date did you take this screenshot?
I don't remember.
Did you take any screenshots when you were meeting with Detective Carrera?
Oh, I don't remember. No. I sent those the moment he asked me for them, but I don't remember the dates when I sent them.
Okay, so when I'm asking, you don't remember then when you took the screenshot?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to ask and answer. This has been asked 2 or 3 different ways at this point. She's indicated she does not remember when the screenshots were taken.
Her answer was that she doesn't remember when she sent them. She hasn't answered as to when she took them.
Did she say that she had taken them?
Yes.
Or that she received them from someone else?
No, that she had taken them.
Well, how would it be a forward then?
Well, her testimony, Judge, was that she didn't remember when she had forwarded the email, but my understanding was that she had sent them to herself. She said she had sent herself her own copy.
Oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom, but I'm afraid she's going to confess as soon as I leave.
So,
It's
do you
a weird
remember
crime.
what date you took this screenshot on?
No, I don't.
I'm going to go to another screenshot that you sent. I might need to hand this to you if you can't read it. But this was a screenshot that was taken at 7:10 a.m., correct?
Yes. The time is on top.
I'm sorry?
7:10. The time is on top.
So at 7:10, were you already at Kenosha Police Department?
I'm just trying to figure out what date that I did send them, but I was over there around the time, 8 o'clock in the morning.
So if you were there around 8 a.m., we know it takes 37 minutes to get to your house or get to Kenosha around. Did you take this screenshot early that morning or the day previous?
I think previous.
So then it would have been May 19th at 7:10 a.m.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. I would have to go back and look on my phone again. I would
Okay.
have to reopen my
Well,
phone.
that's fine. We'll just go to a different one. This was another attachment you sent with the timestamps, correct?
Yes.
The time on that's 2:44 p.m., correct?
2:44.
At the top, the time that you took the screenshot.
Yes.
Because, I think this is common knowledge, but maybe perhaps not. When you take a screenshot on your phone, it's going to depict your whole,
Right.
whatever's on your phone, right?
Right.
So your understanding is that if that time showed up, that would have been the time
Did
that
she
the
confess
screenshot
yet?
was taken on your cell phone.
Yes.
Not yet, but
So you're with
this is
Detective
weird.
Carrera in the early morning hours on May 20th, 2020. You'd agree that it would be physically impossible for you to have screenshot this text on that specific date, correct?
I'm going to object to physically impossible. I think it's a mischaracterization, and she said she was there in the early morning hours, which opens up the possibility of a lot of time that day. So I think it's a mischaracterization of what's been testified to.
I can rephrase and go through it a little in more detail. I'll go back to the time you sent the email.
We don't know what day or time the victim died. Just people hadn't heard from him for 2 days.
You sent the
then
email at
the ex-girlfriend
8:26
went and
a.m. on
found
May
the
20th, 2020,
no body
correct?
blood crime scene.
Yes. This screenshot is taken at 2:44 p.m., correct?
Yes.
So it would have
Yes.
had to have been taken on May 19th, 2020, correct?
Yes.
So knowing that now, does that help refresh your memory as to what date you took the other screenshots on?
Correct.
So this would have been taken at 7:10 a.m. on Monday, May 19th.
Yes.
Hmm.
And the other screenshots, the ones from 8:04 p.m. or 8:04 a.m. were also taken on May 19th, 2020, correct?
Correct.
Now, these screenshots that you sent Detective Carrera, they're not an entirety of the string of messages that you had with Mr. Gutierrez, correct?
Ooh, she edited it.
The string of, you mean like the conversation I had with Gutierrez?
Yes.
That's the only thing I have.
So I'm going to give you Exhibit 235, and I want you to show me which attachment shows the text message that says that you're about to leave your house at 8:24 p.m.
You said at 8:40 or 8:20?
At 8:20, the one that I read to you earlier.
It's not here.
Sorry, can you say that louder?
It's not in this. It's not on these sheets.
Oh.
So the attachments that you sent didn't include that message, correct?
Yeah.
The attachment, what that I sent to the detective. I sent him everything.
Apparently
But
not.
You just said that you looked through this
I looked through
exhibit,
that one. It's not on
and
there.
it's not in there, correct?
Yes.
It has to move Defense Exhibit 235 into evidence.
Objection?
I would ask that it be subject to cross or redirect, I guess, on it.
I would ask that
Can
something
it be
of,
subject to redirect on it before it's officially moved into evidence?
well, I'm gonna see the subject to your.
Ooh, she just breathed heavy into the microphone. I can't play the soundboard thing.
Why didn't you
Audio-
just hand Detective Correa your phone to be able to look at the text messages?
I did.
And did you allow him to complete a Cellbrite download or a download of your cell phone?
He had mentioned there was going to be 2 officers coming to my home to speak with me. And those 2 officers, I offered my phone, and they said, we just want to see the text messages. And then they sent it to themselves.
The detectives took your phone and sent themselves the messages?
Yes.
Okay.
Or
And
officers, I don't know if they're officers or detectives. detectives, but they reviewed my phone.
But they never took your phone completely to
No.
run any tests on it?
No.
Now, you said that you went to Kenosha Police Department the morning of May 20th, 2020, because you had seen a Facebook post.
Correct.
But you weren't friends with Mr. Gutierrez on Facebook.
Correct.
So what Facebook post did you see?
Since I didn't hear from him the 3 days that I was just kind of like, what's going on? I was like, maybe he's married or, you know, he's not interested or what. But I saw on Facebook, it said in public, if you hear anything from Rosario Gutierrez, please contact Kenosha Police. So I'm thinking like, oh my God, what happened? So right away, I took the day off and I went straight I came here to Kenosha Police Station and I spoke with the detective and I explained to him like, well, not explained, but I asked him like, is there something that I'm missing? Is this guy?
Why would she take a day off work and do all this for some dude she never
He
met?
started to ask me information like, how do you know Rosario? You know, how did you meet him? And I explained to him like, I don't know too much about him. I just know a little bit of what we talked about. I gave him the whole conversation of what I had with Rosario last.
So, but back to the Facebook post. Who posted it?
I don't know.
Did you show detectives the Facebook post that you had seen?
No, I just seen it on Facebook and I just never.
I just heard or seen it.
And what time did you see it on Facebook?
Let's see. I seen it at nighttime. So it must have been like on Wednesday night. The 20th was a Thursday, right? Is that correct? So it was the night before. I know it was the night before, and it was a nighttime. And I said, "Oh, geez, I gotta go over there and see what's going on."
You gotta go over there.
Like come to Kenosha and find out like is everything okay? Because I don't know. Like I had the conversation last, and me working at the time period for the district attorney office, my job is important. I'm a mother. I don't know. I just thought the best thing to do was to give the officer my phone.
Okay, so May 20th was a Wednesday. I want to go back to the Facebook post. So May 19th was a Tuesday. So you're saying you saw that Facebook post the evening hours of May 19th, 2020?
Yes.
So not in the morning?
Not in the morning.
So not around 7 or 8 a.m.?
I know it was like a day or 2 days after. 2 days. Yeah, it must have been 2 days after because I was so concerned, like he never got back to me. I kept messaging him.
I want to go, sorry, I'm just asking about this Facebook post. I'm going to keep it to that.
Yes.
So it wasn't around 2 p.m. mid-afternoon either. It's later than that. You see this post.
Correct.
So I want to go back now to May 17th, 2020, you thought you used Google Maps on that day, but now after seeing your screenshot, you know you used Apple Maps on May 17th, 2020.
Correct.
And when you spoke with officers, I believe it was on the 22nd, you spoke to someone other than Detective Correa, correct?
Yes.
And you had told those officers that you were outside of Mr. Gutierrez's apartment building, right?
Yes.
And when you got there, you could see the numbers on the apartment building, right?
Yes. No, it was kind of dark.
Yes, no, kind of dark. That's literally every answer you get.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 58. Does this look like the front of the apartment building that you were waiting at?
Here, I'm gonna object. Wood Creek Apartments, they're essentially all identical, so in terms of being able to, if she asked about the address specifically, if you saw that, I think that's appropriate, but all of the apartment complexes are identical, so whether she's in front of this one or one that looks identical would have to be determined by the address, not necessarily.
You're testifying right now. You can cover this on your redirect. Although the point may be a good one, and so.
She was there, Judge.
Understand she may.
They all look the same. They really do look the same. The same door, the color of the door from what I'm seeing right now.
The taped door looks.
No. Just the color of the door.
Okay, but there's numbers on top of the door, correct? Can you read the numbers that are?
It says here 3709.
Okay, thank you.
Elmo. We have an Elmo sighting.
Apple Maps could have taken you to the correct address, right?
Here, I'm gonna object. She testified to where it took her. Whether or not it could have taken her to the right address, I think is irrelevant. She's testified under oath where it took her.
Judge, on direct, the state said, well, you took Google Maps and Google Maps took you here. We now have that she took Apple Maps on May 17th, 2020. Completely different maps. So
No.
I'm able to go into this.
Well, I just want to make sure that it's the defendant who is giving testimony. And not the attorneys talking about things that haven't actually been produced in testimony. So again, I'll repeat, you can cover on request.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Welcome back, Chandler.
Occasionally,
You're
lawyers,
muted.
and we're all guilty of it, will
Sorry, thanks. I've been listening.
in such a way that assumes facts and asks the witness to affirm them. And sometimes the witness takes a different course and doesn't directly respond to that. Keep in mind that if the witness does not affirm what the question presupposes, then it's not reflective of the witness's answer. Any question about that?
Nope.
Okay.
So it's possible that on May 17th, 2020, you were taken to 3709 15th Street.
You know, you're asking, she was taken?
Sure, I'll read.
Directed, is that what you mean?
Sure, I'll rephrase. It's possible that Apple Maps would have taken you to 3709, that building, on May 17th, 2020.
But it didn't guide me there. It guided me a whole different building. That's what I'm realizing.
But you said okay, so later in March of, what was that, 2022, correct?
Yes.
2 years later, you used Google Maps to return to the Wood Creek apartment complex.
Correct.
And when you used Google Maps, it took you to the building you pointed out during direct.
Correct.
But they all look the same.
Yes.
So it's possible that when you used Apple Maps directed you to the other building. The actual building.
The actual building. It never sent me to an actual building.
But, okay, so March of 2022, you actually had gone back to that location before March 2022, correct?
With a DA and the detectives.
No, I want to talk about, the time that you went to the scene only with the district attorneys.
Well, with the People from the district attorney's office, is that what you mean?
People from the district attorney's office. You remember that meeting?
Yes.
And who were the people of the district attorney's office that you met with?
The district attorney, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I'm so sorry.
Ms. Kazarian?
I'm sorry, how do you say your name?
Jessica.
Yes, Jessica. And
The prosecutor. How do you say your name, Jessica?
another gentleman, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
Can you describe what he looked like?
He's a very tall gentleman.
I'll stipulate it's DA Mike Gravely.
The district attorney?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And how did that meeting come about?
He called me that day and he's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm at the building where it's.
Sorry.
I'm gonna, she's asked a question, she's answering the question. I believe it should be fully answered before we move on to the next question.
I'm gonna withdraw that question and rephrase it.
Well, you can't interrupt the witness. Did you understand the question?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Can you ask me the question again, or?
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
So prior to you meeting with District Attorney Mike Gravely and Jessica Kasterik, how did you know to go to that location?
How do I know to get to that location? Because the DA gave me the address and said, I will meet you to that location so you can explain more detail where you parked. I said, okay.
She's weird.
So did you call the district attorney or did the district attorney call you?
This is a weird testimony.
And do you remember the district attorney telling you that there's something off with the timeline?
There's something
Just
off with
the
everybody
map.
involved
It
in
was
this
kind of
trial.
like the Google Maps, and we were just kind of figuring out the map. Why did my phone directed me again to the same location where it sent me the first time?
And Attorney Gravely had asked you to do that, correct?
I'm gonna object it to ask her to do what?
Asked you to do that? Question was asked you to do that?
It's vague.
That's what, it was a follow-up to her answer just now about comparing the map to your phones to Google Maps. Attorney Gravely asked you to do that, correct?
Just to kind of review my phone. And I showed him my phone. This is where my phone directed me to that other building.
But he didn't ask you to pull up it on Apple Maps, correct?
No, not that I remember. No.
And that was approximately 2 years after you had been to Wood Creek Apartments in May of 2020, right?
No, that was like a year ago, 2 years ago. Like a year ago. No, it was a year ago after I met up with him. It was a year ago.
So back now to the Apple Maps, is it possible that where you were when you met with the district attorney is different than where you were on May 17th, 2020?
No, it was the same location.
How do you know it was the same location?
Because he called me and said, where are you? And I said, I'm right here where I was waiting for Rosario. He said, this is not the building. The building's over here. And I said, well, you can see for yourself. And I showed it to him.
But you previously testified that all the buildings looked exactly the same.
Yes, they all look the same.
So how do you know you were at a different building?
Because the phone had a little red dot that pointed to me that was the building.
But you were using Google Maps.
I'm going to object, asked and answered. I think now we're on, time 4.
Well, the organization leaves something to be desired. Rephrase your question. Let's take it from there. As to what event she's talking about, and what the source of her information was, and the impression that she formed as to where she physically was.
Did you look at the apartment building numbers at any point?
I did not really pay attention, only because it was only going by what the map was telling me.
Okay, so then,
I'm sorry,
And then-
Judge, nobody can hear.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's been a couple of months that the sound has been worse and worse. And it's not your fault, man.
Because nobody's using the
Notice
goddamn
that the light
microphone.
isn't lit because then
It's lit.
press the bar in front. Yeah? No, I don't know. We were
Can you hear
having,
me now?
I'm having terrible trouble with that, hearing from that
Can you hear
microphone.
me now? To me, all the buildings, they look the same. The moment you drive in, they all look the same.
but when you met with the DA's office, you used a different map application.
Correct. The Google.
So it's possible where you were on that day was different than where you were directed previously.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. This has been asked and answered multiple times. She indicated she went to the same place she had been directed before and was surprised that we weren't there.
We can cover it on record.
I'm not sure. All I can say is, for some reason, God guided me that way, and I don't know why. I arrived at that same building 2 times. I arrived at the same building two times. Both maps, both times I put it on there. If I
One
put it on
time
there
with
right
the body,
now,
one time
it'll
without.
probably guide me there again. I don't know.
So it's
So,
God's
you didn't
fault
use
that she went to the
Apple
wrong
Maps in-
building?
When you met with the DA's office, correct?
When I went to the DA office, did I use Apple Maps? Is that what you're asking me?
When you went to the Wood Creek Apartments, when you met the district attorneys there, you did not use Apple Maps.
No, I used Google.
So you're saying all the buildings look the same. You used a different application the second time to get there. So all I'm asking is it possible that on May 17th, 2020, you were actually in front of 3709 15th Street?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. She's indicated she didn't really look at the numbers, and she said where she was on both dates. So we have asked this question multiple times. She's answered it multiple times, and we just keep going in circles trying to get a different result.
Judge, she hasn't answered the question. Her answer to the question each time is she used Google Maps and everything looks the same. So I'm trying to break that down, and we know she testified
Break it
earlier
on
that
down.
she used Apple Maps on May 17th, 2020. And she's not been able to provide an answer as to how she knows definitively that while using a different application, she arrived at the location that she were directed to Apple Maps on May 17th, 2020. I'm simply trying to get an answer to that.
Crazy.
The
That's how
subject
it
has been
goes.
extensively covered. And it may be that the clarity that you're seeking isn't there.
You didn't read any of, on May 17th, 2020, you didn't look at the apartment building number.
On May when?
17th, 2000?
No, because it was dark and it was rainy.
You said you had your lights on?
Yes, but my vehicle is not that, it was an old Toyota that I had that's not even that bright. So I couldn't even see myself. That's why I said I wait for him to come out. I'm not gonna.
But you said that you pulled up, right? So you said you pulled your car up, that you were back by the dumpster, correct?
Correct.
And that you pulled your car up to a closer up spot,
Correct.
which would be approximately 10 feet from the building, correct?
Correct.
With your lights on.
Correct.
And you're saying you didn't look and read what you read today, which was 3709 apartment building number. You didn't read it.
No, I didn't. I was more worried for him to even come out. I was nervous. I wanted to get to know him.
Worried?
All I remember seeing is a heavy-set woman coming down the stairs. There's light in the hallway, and some young guy was going down the stairs, and then he went back up. I don't know. I didn't want to get to the door and ring the doorbell or anything because I wasn't sure if it's one of those apartments that they have to buzz you in. I'm not going to stand in the rain.
So now you just said that you observed we'll talk about what you observed now. You said you observed a heavier set woman going up and down the stairs?
Yeah.
Do you remember on May 22nd, 2020, saying that you saw a Hispanic male going up and down the stairs?
It's like a Hispanic male, yes.
And that you actually saw a heavier set black female woman with a bag enter the apartment building?
Correct.
So you didn't see are you mistaken that you saw the black female woman going up and down the steps, that you had just seen her go in?
Yes.
What?
And so you said that you could see what was going on in the apartment building.
Correct.
So you were close enough to observe what was going on in the apartment building.
Hey,
Yes.
what's up?
Good morning.
Hayden.
Hey, Chandler.
Welcome.
And
I've had
do you
people blowing up my
remember
phone.
being
Apparently
asked
things
if you
popped
saw
off this
any
morning.
Vehicles around the area when you were there on May 17th, 2020?
I saw like another Toyota, like a blue Toyota, drive past me with tinted windows, but didn't really pay attention to that.
Do you remember saying you saw a white four-door vehicle as well?
There's a lot of vehicles there, so I didn't really pay attention to other vehicles around me. Everybody's vehicle was parked.
She paid enough attention
If I
to
was to show
note
you wrote
the
a
make and
statement
model
in
and
this
color.
Case, correct?
Yes.
If I was to show you that, would that help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
It sounds like she gave conflicting accounts of what she saw.
She's been contradicting herself from the minute she started talking.
And backtracking a lot.
Not remembering.
And I take it this is the witness that caused the mistrial last year.
Hayden, we've got stuff to talk about.
I will get a notepad. Hang on.
We got shit to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Please go to lunch, Judge.
You must be so tired.
I'm falling asleep over here. I need to shuffle this over. I had to do another stream with Steve Gosney, so I didn't have time to take a nap when I got home from work. But hey, that's the hazards of doing it.
Well, Hayden's here, so we'll save the day. Good on you for pushing through.
Well, she's trying to figure out how to change her story again. Let's look at Nicholas Starov, union rep, labor law. That 40-minute gap, constructing alibi. Battle of the ponytailed blonde, says Sapphire.
Did that help refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay, so do you remember telling
Wait, what?
officers that you saw a white four-door
Dipshit's going to have to be
as well?
Yes.
a witness?
What was that?
I saw in chat, Dipshit is got booted from the case because he has to be a witness?
What?
But DA,
Chat.
All right, save it.
Don't pay any damn attention to chat. You're going to get these little one-line shit. It's a whole narrative.
That's exhibit
Okay.
235.
we will catch you up, Hayden, I promise.
All right.
What's she smiling at?
I keep seeing her, like, you know, kind of grinning or smirking, and
She said, yeah, I got him.
isn't your boyfriend dead? Aren't you sad about that? Why? And she never takes her sunglasses off of her head either. I don't know why she's like, put those in your bag.
Do you remember sending this screenshot with the timestamps of when you sent your message to Detective Correa?
Do I remember when I sent this timestamp?
This is one of the screenshots you sent to the detective, correct? Yes. Okay, and the times that are next to your messages would have been the time that you sent those messages.
Well, which incident of sending?
When she sent the actual text messages.
But you're inquiring about transmission to Detective Correa?
No, when she sent those.
When they originally sent them to
Correct.
herself?
Yes.
Your question was
when
unclear.
when she sent the text, when you send a text message on an iPhone, you can swipe right to see the time that you personally sent that text message.
But the question inquired when, I think what was the time at which you sent it? And I was inquiring whether you were talking about sent a copy to yourself, or whether it was the time when she transmitted it to Detective Correa, which was the subject of your sentence.
No.
Rephrase your question.
Sure. Can you explain what the timestamps next to your text messages indicate?
Are you talking about the delivered part?
Yeah.
Well, it says that I left at 10:18. Is that what you're?
No, so you see that there's a bunch of different times. 9:37 p.m. We'll start with that one. 9:37 p.m. You see that time?
Yes.
That was the time that you sent the text message 5 minutes away to Mr. Gutierrez's phone, correct?
Okay. Yes.
And then the same for the 9:43, the 9:44, 9:52, 10:08, 10:18.
Okay. Yes.
So you got there, according to this text message, at 9:43.
Okay.
43 minutes after you were supposed to be there.
Why did you tell someone like, okay, yeah,
And
maybe
you
I
then
did. What's
leave
it
at
to you?
10:18, according to this.
Yes.
So you just started talking to a guy and you waited around for over 30 minutes. Why?
Yes. Well, just while I was waiting for him, I was on my Facebook, so I was just kind of like waiting. I don't know if he was in the shower. I don't know if he was getting ready. But like I said, I waited for him because I thought he was a very good guy, a guy that really expresses himself a lot about his job, his mother, and his kids. To me, that really says a lot about a person.
So thirsty and desperate. Gotcha.
He said he's been single for a very long time, and
1 week.
I said, well, so was I. So
You have your stream set up, Hayden?
what much can I say? I wanted to wait for this person.
In the
Even
process.
though you were scared and nervous, you wanted to wait more than 30 minutes for someone to respond that you never met before.
Well, I've been single a very, very long time. I've been divorced since 2014. So meeting somebody was very nervous. For me, I was nervous. I was very nervous.
You also called Mr. Gutierrez that night as well, correct?
I was what?
Called Mr. Gutierrez?
I did.
Multiple times.
Yes, and he did not answer. That's when I thought, well, maybe he's married. And I said, oh, it's time for me to go.
And then on direct, do you remember being asked the question by the state if at this time in your life you had anyone that would be jealous of you going to meet a man? Do you remember that question?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Do you remember being asked
She has selective hearing problems
the
and
question that
remembering
at this time on
problems.
around May 17th, 2020, did you have anyone in your life that would have been jealous?
Yes.
And you remember saying no?
No.
But you did have an ex that was extremely jealous, correct?
My ex-husband? No, he already did his life. So
He already did his life? What does that mean?
what else can that be?
You had never, previous to this date, indicated that an individual that you had dated had, even though they were in custody, would still act jealous if you were talking to other men and would accuse you of
Uh-huh.
talking to
Wait.
other men.
Her ex-husband's doing life? Is that what she meant to say?
The state,
yes,
opened the door.
Well, it needs for certain. It needs.
She's a circuit court clerk, and her ex-husband is in jail for
Do you
life.
remember having an ex-partner who you were relatively scared of?
Yes.
And that person, you had thought at points, even if he was in custody, that he was keeping track of you, correct?
Yeah, but that's.
Don't say
I
irrelevant.
mean, I don't know what you're asking me. I'm sorry.
Are you kidding
He was
me?
a jealous ex.
Yes.
No further questions.
Wow.
Any redirect?
Yeah, there's quite a few redirected. Just on that last point, we'll start there. Did that person have any idea you were coming down to Kenosha to meet Mr. Gutierrez?
So-
No.
Her ex that was in jail for life is not actually in jail for life.
That person
I'm so
married,
confused.
from my understanding. I have more children, so I don't know. Where's that question going?
How, I guess I'll follow up to that. How many years ago was this jealous ex in your life?
2017, 18?
So several years prior to 2020?
Correct.
You had indicated on cross that you had seen a Facebook post in the evening hours of May 19th regarding Mr. Gutierrez Jr. Accurate?
Yes.
About him being missing?
Yes.
And upon hearing that information, what about that made you decide you needed to come down to tell what you knew about your supposed meetup with him the night of the 17th?
What made me come here?
Yes.
I'm a mother, and if anything happened to my son's 20 years old. If something happened to my son, I would need answers. And I feel like I put myself in his mom's shoes. That really hurt me. And I had to say something, step up and say something. If I have some clues or answers, I have to give this to the police. Why? Because it's the right thing to do.
And so you drove down then in the early morning hours of the 20th directly to the police station at roughly 7 a.m.?
Correct.
And you met with Detective Correa?
Correct.
And when you were meeting with Detective Correa, were you trying to show him some of these messages that are on your phone?
Yes.
And so when you're with him, are you taking some of these screenshots to kind of show him what you're talking about?
Yes. I was showing him everything.
I'm going to object to leading and have that be struck from the record.
Sounds good to me.
The objection does sound leading to me.
What information did you want to provide to law enforcement on the 20th regarding your interactions with Mr. Gutierrez?
Everything. Messages from Facebook to the times that I talked to him, everything. I told him where I worked. I told him everything because to me, it's like being forward and coming clean of who I am. There's nothing to really hide about it.
Coming clean is
And
kind of a weird word. choice.
subsequent to meeting with Detective Correa, did he make any requests of you in terms of getting those messages to him?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, subsequent to actually meeting with Detective Correa in person, did he request that you email those messages to him?
Yes.
And so after leaving the Kenosha Police Department, did you then take the screenshots you sent to Detective Correa?
Yes.
And did you have more email conversations where he asked you follow-up questions regarding those messages?
Yes.
And was one of those specifically about timestamps of when messages were sent?
What do you mean, like from me and Rosario, or timestamp from?
I'll rephrase. So there was some talk on cross about some of the screenshots being at 7:10 a.m. Do you remember that? 7:10 in the morning?
I know it was in the morning, but I don't remember exactly what time.
And then there were some that the screenshots seemingly implied they were about 8:03 a.m.
Yes.
And then some later ones that came at 2:44 p.m.
Yes.
In the original email to Detective Correa, which was shown to you with the date and time of May 20th at 8:26 a.m., did that email include the messages, the screenshots that you had from 7:10 and 8:03 a.m. that day?
Yes.
And subsequent to that, were there conversations via email with Detective Correa regarding some follow-up questions he had regarding your messages?
By email, no.
Did he request further screenshots of your messages, specifically with timestamps?
Yes.
So, where?
Oh, shoot. Oh, now it goes deathly quiet. Need to get Megan Fox, not the thumbs, the other one. Need to do some squat.
Can you just identify that this is a screenshot from 7:10 a.m. with messages starting 5 minutes away?
Yes.
And then the following page from Defense's 235, is that a screenshot of those same exact messages, but from 2:44 p.m. with the timestamps next to them?
Yes.
And after you had sent the original messages from 7:10 or 8:03, did Detective Correa ask you for ones with the actual time and date stamp of all of the messages being sent, not just the top one?
He asked me for all the messages, so I sent him everything that I had.
So back to Defense Exhibit 235, the 7:10 screenshot doesn't have all the times next to it. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And so you have an iPhone, is that true?
Correct.
And so in your familiarity with iPhones, when messages are sent in quick succession, is usually the timestamp only at the top of the message that are sent quickly? Or in a short succession, I guess I should say?
What do you mean, like?
So if you would look at messages on your phone, normally without doing anything else, would it appear the way it does at 7:10 a.m. where it just simply starts your messages at 9:37?
Objection leading.
Yes, it is.
Is this the normal way your phone would appear if you just took a screenshot?
Yes.
What extra step, if any, do you have to take on an iPhone to get additional times for date stamps next to it?
You have to hit the screen, push back. It's like extra work, I would say. So
Extra work?
You grab your phone,
You lazy
push back,
fuck.
and snap it.
So you would
You
have,
have to
take
move your
additional
thumb
steps to do that.
an inch to the left.
And so if you had originally
And a
sent
step to the right.
the screenshots to Detective Correa,
Arduous, very arduous.
would it have been a request from him or somebody else for you to do that extra step?
Show your work.
What do you mean? Like if it would be from him,
When you took the initial ones at 7:10 and 8:03 a.m., you didn't take that extra step.
No, I didn't.
Subsequent to that, you took that extra step.
Right.
Was that a request that law enforcement made of you to get the exact times your messages were
Yes.
sent to?
He just said, make sure you get the times. And I must have sent that one first and then just kind of start working through the other ones.
So there were multiple communications and sending of messages to Detective Correa as part of this case?
Right. Yes.
Now, you were asked when these screenshots would have been taken and sent. And so in looking at Defense Exhibit 235, this first email you have with Detective Correa, which you testified to, comes through at what time?
8:26
a.m. on the 20th? So if you had to take additional steps to do that extra piece for 2:44 p.m., would that message have to have come through to the detective after May 20th at 8:26 a.m.?
Yes.
I'm going to show you that map again of the Wood Creek Apartments. The night of May 17th, which building specifically did your whatever map program you used take you to where you thought you'd be meeting Mr. Gutierrez Jr.? Which building on there? If you'd like to get up and approach.
I'm going to object as far as it's kind of argumentative and testimonial in that this witness at length on cross was not able to definitively say which building she was at on May 17th, 2020.
Maybe it was the way you asked the question. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that's the correct answer. I'm just saying, I don't know. The witness can speak for herself. You can ask on recross.
Or we can just go to lunch.
So on May 17th, that's the building your GPS took you to.
Yes.
And when you testified on cross regarding meeting up with myself and District Attorney Gravely, what building did your GPS take you to on that day? So that same building? And you'd indicated that there was a little bit of surprise from the District Attorney's office in terms of the fact that that was the building you were at?
Objection calls for hearsay and speculation.
Your Honor, they opened the door to it and she testified to it.
Well,
I'll
I think
withdraw my objection. I'll withdraw my objection.
I'll withdraw the question. So on both May 17th and in March, when you met with the District Attorney's office, that's the same building that you were taken to.
keep using the term
Objection
taken
meeting.
to. Directed to, maybe?
She's also leading judge.
Well, she's just repeating what she already said.
Then asked and answered.
I'll move on.
Bless you.
The crypt keeper laughs. All right, if they ever get a break here, we can switch on over to you. And
Thank you.
oh, no more questions. You said you had a lot.
Back to the GPS or the map application that you were using. You were using a different map application on May 17th versus the time that you met with the district attorney's office, correct?
Yes.
And when you met with the district attorney's office, when you met with Mike Gravely, where did he meet you? If you could point out on the map, where did he meet you when you met with him?
Yes, I know the judge said the the lunch was gonna be like when they switch witnesses. I said so. When you get a break,
Here.
not a lunch
And
break,
I-
just a break.
And
We'll
I
switch
told
on over
him
to
he was
Ozzy.
somewhere else, and he was asking me, where are you? And I told him I'm right at the same location where I was at. From the date that I was supposed to meet Rosalio. Walking from this angle, and I was already parked here, waiting for him.
So previously, you told law enforcement that you were in front of Mr. Gutierrez's apartment, correct?
Yes.
And then it's only after you met with the district attorney, Michael Gravely, that you are now saying you were in a different location.
There was 3 different.
It's a yes or no answer.
No. I don't allow witnesses, lawyers to restrict witnesses like that. Go ahead, ma'am.
There was 3 different times I moved. When I arrived, in the beginning I said.
Which date?
I'm sorry?
Which date?
May 17th.
Okay, go ahead.
2020. I arrived and I parked over here and I waited for a couple of minutes and then I parked by the dumpsters.
This is non-responsive to my question.
Go ahead with your answer.
And after I waited a few minutes, I parked right in front of the building.
I'm going to ask you the same question again. You
Yeah, she sounds like she's gonna cry just from the pressure.
You previously said May 17th, around on May 20th and May 22nd, when you talked to law enforcement, when you talked to the detectives, you told them you were in front of Mr. Gutierrez's apartment. You then, when meeting with the district attorney, Mike Gravely, said you were in front of a different building, correct?
That's the only building that I was at when I was supposed to meet Rosalio. I don't know where does he really live. I know that's the building that both maps guided me to.
Well, when he texted you, he gave you his apartment building number, right? He gave you his apartment number, 1B, correct? And when you had that information, you then told law enforcement you were at his apartment.
I just pointed out the building that I'm thinking that's where he lived.
Okay, use this couple of seconds of downtime. Unhung hero. So are all these witnesses drug lions of the victim? Possibly. AP, she's conflicted herself since her first question. Exactly. Flux, DA Ballsack is a witness and got kicked out. I said, we'll explain it. Single and ready to mingle, no big deal. Sapphire B.
With the district attorney's office just now. You had said that attorney Mike Gravely had called you. Were you expecting that phone call?
From the DA?
Correct.
No, I was looking around like, where is he? And I was looking for the other lady that was with him. And I was standing in that same building that I just pointed out and I didn't see them. So I was just waiting and waiting. Finally, they called me and they said, where are you? I said, I'm right in front of the building.
So I'm sorry. The phone call you received from attorney Gravely asking you to meet him at the scene.
Yes.
Were you expecting that phone call?
What phone call from him?
Oh my God.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No, I was expecting to meet him at that same building.
No!
Okay, you keep saying you're expecting to meet him at that building, but prior to your expectations of meeting him at that building, were you expecting the first phone call where he called you to tell you to meet him at Wood Creek Apartments?
No, I wasn't expecting that because we were here and we met up here at the DA office. We talked about it.
Oh my God, you dense peck tuna can.
And I'll see you shortly. I said, okay.
This is like a root canal.
Right now.
So prior to you going to the scene of the crime,
miserable.
you had met with attorney Gravely at his office.
Yes.
And what did you talk about in that meeting?
We drove around and got to know each other.
to basically that I'm gonna be subpoenaed and that I have to come in court and testify. And that's it.
She was peanut buttered. She was.
And I asked him questions like, well, did we hear anything about Rosario? What happened? What's going on? Nothing. He didn't say nothing. He just said be prepared.
Well, yeah, because you were going to be a witness in court, and he can't
Up here, just told
influence
me
you.
you're going to explain to me, us, the lady who was there, and you're going to tell us what exactly, where were you? Where were you parked?
So he told you that he needed you to tell him where you were.
Yes.
Because something wasn't adding up, correct?
Like her whole testimony.
That nothing. He didn't say something wasn't adding up. He just said, we're just going to go back and you can explain a little more detailed where were you parked.
But he did tell you that your timeline
Yes.
didn't add up to the evidence.
No, he didn't say it didn't add up. He just said, we just need to know what time, how long were you at that, where were you parked exactly?
But he told you there was an issue with your timeline.
I'm going to object to ask an answer. She's used even timeline multiple times, and she said that's not what he said to her.
This shall exhaust the line of inquiry. Go ahead. Did you understand the question?
Yes. And
Are you sure?
he didn't say something that did not add up. He just said, we just need to go there and kind of give us a little detailed information. Where were you parked?
That was my second to last question. My last question was, there was some issue that he had with the timeline, and that's why he then wanted to take you to the scene.
Well, she said he had not said that. Now your question seems to be inquiring what was in Mr. Gravely's mind, which would be speculation for this witness.
I'll move on. So who then called you to meet? How did you know to come to the district attorney's office to meet prior to you going to the scene?
One of the ladies, she works at the DA office. I'm sorry. Is she? Is she an advocate, or I'm not sure. What's her name? Heather?
Sorry, are you asking the state of question?
I don't know. I'm trying
to remember one of the ladies that called me to inform me to meet with the DA.
So it wasn't, you hadn't called the district attorney's office?
No, they called me to tell me to come to the office, and we were going to discuss a little bit on what was going to happen. I was going to get subpoenaed, and I was going to, come to a court date. That's it.
Was it Attorney Gravely's idea to take you to the scene of the crime?
I don't know if it was his idea or not. I just was told to go to the scene.
But it wasn't your idea?
No.
You didn't offer to go there?
No.
And then when you were at the scene with Attorney Gravely, after
nothing. He asked me, where were you parked?
What was that? Ah, there we go.
How long were you here? What time did you move your vehicle? Like those 3 times that I moved my vehicle, where was I parked? And he asked me in the beginning, like, where are you? And I said, I'm at the location at that building. He says, are you sure? And I said, yes, I'm at this building. This is where Google and Apple guided me to go. And I was told that that's not the building.
Mike, Attorney Gravely told you that's not the building, correct?
Good question.
Understanding, that's how I took it. That's not the building.
So just if you can answer the question directly.
What do you mean?
No,
Oh.
That's my question. Sorry.
Sorry.
You're fine. The district attorney told you when you were there, that's not Mr. Gutierrez's apartment.
Right. Yes.
And then did he take you to Mr. Gutierrez's apartment?
No.
So after you take Google Maps to that location at the request of Attorney Gravely, Attorney Gravely says, that's not it, and that was everything?
That's it.
Nothing further.
Any question?
Two questions.
course.
When you gave your first statement to law enforcement back on May 20th, it was memorialized on the 22nd, and you said you were in front of Mr. Gutierrez's apartment. Did you believe that the apartment you pointed out to us twice was Mr. Gutierrez's apartment?
Yes.
And knowing what you know today, do you have any guess which of those buildings on there is actually his real apartment?
I don't know. I don't know.
I have no further questions.
Why would you ask that? That doesn't help your case.
Thank you. You may step down. Thank you. Let's break, folks. And let me ask that you return at 1:30.
Oh, thank God. Is your stream up and going?
Don't discuss the case with anyone.
I'll start it now.
Even members of your
All right, let me know when it's good. And
Any questions? Thank you.
oh God, goodbye. Wow. All right, what's going to happen here now is we're going to do the lunch break, and so we're going to go over to Aussie Overlaw'd, who is taking the afternoon sessions of the trial, and I'll bring him up to speed. We'll do a little bit of a recap as to what he's missed, and then he'll take you through the rest of the lunch hour and the afternoon session. And Chandler will be there as long as she can, I guess.
Yes, I might actually have to join another stream in a couple of minutes. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
look at you, Miss Popular.
For tomorrow. Well, I mean, that's I don't know about that.
Ooh, who are we joining?
I'd love to join Hayden. A friend of mine named Dr. Hines. I can't pronounce his last name. Named after the character that everybody thought resembled Spiegel in the trial. And we're going to be discussing a case in the UK for about an hour. So I will be hopping on a Hayden stream either now or in an hour. And that should be, hopefully I won't miss anything good. But I mean,
yeah,
with
lunch
this case,
hour.
you never know. It's like everything. I mean, honestly, it's a little bit of a riveting case. It's also kind of boring sometimes, but I feel like a lot happens if you're not on stream. And, it's like when you're not streaming, you miss stuff.
It's so weird.
It is weird. That was a weird witness.
Just nothing. I mean, none of these witnesses make sense. Nothing is meshing. Nothing is matching up.
No.
The prosecution is just utterly disjointed, and this is a very confusing case. I mean, everybody has criminal histories, or they're married to criminals. I mean, this is just weird.
It's convoluted, I would say, and there are a lot of distractions. And I think also it's not really typical procedure to keep having to send the jury out multiple times. I mean, there's clearly a lot of contention between the prosecution and the defense, and it's I'm glad that
they
the
don't
jury
like
isn't
each
present
other.
for a lot of it. I feel like a lot of the conversations would definitely bias them or confuse them. But yeah, it's problematic.
All right.
It's
I've got a few
weird
super
one.
chats to clear up here, and then we'll send everybody over to Aussie. Unhung Hero says Australia existing is more believable than this. Marv White, I absolutely, these two attorneys battling it out. Well, me too. Whatever verb should have been there. Duncan Idaho, Unhung Hero doesn't add up. Can she even add, bro? And Duncan Idaho, don't use words like prior with this witness. Yeah, doesn't seem to be the sharpest tool in the shit. Oh, I'm sorry that we have to mix our metaphors. She doesn't seem like her elevator goes to the cookie jar. Here we go. That's just a thing we do here. We mix metaphors for no reason whatsoever.
Oh, I thought it was because of the sharp force injuries that were potentially inflicted.
I think all these
with the blunt force injuries. I mean, is it blunt force?
I think all of these people have had blunt force trauma.
They seem to be operating on like kind of like half level. They're not doing so great.
Well, let's see how our poll ended up. By the way, we've got 1,422 of you here, and I've got Hayden's stream locked and loaded. So as soon as he gives the go ahead that he's up and running and live, we will automatically redirect to him. In theory, if you're not automatically redirected, there's gonna be a little box up at the top that says, "Hey, something's happening over there." Click on it, and then if that doesn't work, you'll just have to find him manually. Today's legal advices. Like and subscribe poll was kind of lame, but hey, I was pressed for time. So hit that like button if you haven't already done so. There's 1,400 of you here, 1,100 likes. It's like at least 300 of you, possibly 800 of you haven't done that. because people come and go. Hit the like button. I deeply appreciate it. Feed that algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed, I would like to think that I have done something to entice you or persuade you or bait you into subscribing to the channel. Let's get to 36,000. We are 500 away. Well, he's ready to go. We were 445 people away from 36,000. So that's the next goal. All right. 7% of you said you smashed. The question was, who smashes the like and subscribe buttons harder? Who smashes harder? The DA. 7%. 19% of you said the defense smashes the like and subscribe buttons harder. Oh, I lost. Coming in number 2, Legal Vices smashes the like and subscribe button harder. And Judge Schroeder, he wins. Judge Schroeder with 39% of the vote smashes the like and subscribe button hardest. That's the end of that lame poll. We'll try to have a better one tomorrow that makes at least some sense.
I like it.
All right, that's it. Oh, we got one more. Wait. Where'd you go? Don't do this to me. Now I got to scroll all the way back down there to get your last chat. Love, insert love in my. I love your other chat is gone. Just like love. I remember there wasn't a verb there, but I'm tired and can't remember what the actual thing was. Yeah, I had no idea. Could have been any verb. All right. Thank you, mods, for being here. As always, thank you, chat. The Legal Vices Vice Squad chat is the greatest chat on the entire platform. The subscribers, we picked up a few subscribers today. That deeply appreciate that. And anybody else that wants to do that, just the buzz, just right down there. And as always, Chandler Remington on Twitter, Remy REMY_legal. That's her. She's awesome. She'll be back tomorrow, I hope.
I will.
Cool. And then Thursday, she'll be back for OJ Simpson.
Bright and early.
Co-host. All right, everybody. Let's see how well this works. 3, 2, 1. Have a good night, everybody.